Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. The show originally aired in the Premier Networks on Saturday, October 6th, 2018. This is episode 1529. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by PryLock Security. PryLock offers a best-of-breed security training platform that can automatically create, enroll, manage, deliver, track, and report your phishing tests and security briefings. Your employees need this. Your business needs it. Go to prylock.com/twit and use the promo code Leo. You'll save 30%. And by IT Pro TV. Build or expand your IT career with flexible training and binge-worthy content from IT Pro TV. Visit itpro.tv/techguy and use a code TG30 to get a free 7-day trial and 30% off a monthly membership for the lifetime of your active subscription. And by Rocket Mortgage from Quicken Loans, introducing Rate Shield Approval. If you're in the market to buy a home, Rate Shield Approval locks up your rate for up to 90 days while you shop. It's a real game changer. Learn more and get started at rocketmortgage.com/techguy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Yeah, time to talk computers, the internet. What else? Computers, the internet. Oh, yeah, smartphones, smartwatches. You know, all the G-Jaws, the Gimcracks, the Gizzes and Moes, all the things that are changing our lives in this day and age. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number, if you'd like to call and join the conversation. 888-827-5536. You can also, by the way, talk to Scot Wilkinson because he's in studio with us today. So we'll have a little extra time for home theater. 8888 Ask Leo. There's a website. We've got a website. It's techguylabs.com if you'd like to join us on the website, techguylabs.com. That's free. There's no sign up, and it's a great resource for you all week long. If you hear something on the show, or even if you don't, and you wonder, has Leo taken a look at the iPhone XS? Does he have an opinion on that? That kind of thing. You can just go to techguylabs.com. No sign up, no fee. It's just wide open and there for you. Wow, what an interesting story. It's going on right now. It started with Bloomberg Businessweek, which is, I might add, a highly reputable journal. It published, on October 4th, so that was Thursday, right? It published an article, The Big Hack, How China Used a Tiny Chip to Infiltrate U.S. Companies. And it involves a physical hack of motherboards made in China. Now, before you get all crazy about this, wait, because there's some questions. So this is the original story on Thursday. Talked about a tiny chip the size of a grain of rice that was posing as a minor support chip on motherboards, but that in fact would phone home as soon as it got on the internet and allowed the Chinese spies, I guess, to modify the operating system on these systems. The motherboards were made, according to Bloomberg, this is all according to Bloomberg Businessweek, by Supermicro and used in servers by many companies, including Apple, Amazon. In fact, we even had one of the supposedly hacked servers in our studio because the company called Elemental that makes streaming hardware we use to stream our shows over the internet, because I have a kind of like an internet TV station, Twit, This Week in Tech, runs all week, twit.tv. And we use the Elemental box, quite an expensive box. What do we pay for the Elemental? $20,000 or $30,000. It's a very expensive box. And it has, the capability of streaming out to 3 or 4 different providers, YouTube Live and Twitch and Mixer and Ustream, all of those. And that's what we use. Well, according to this Bloomberg Businessweek, that's actually how people found out about this. The Supermicro motherboard that was used on the Elemental was discovered by Amazon Security. They reported the discovery to U.S. authorities, and I'm quoting Bloomberg Businessweek, quote, sending a shudder through the intelligence community. The servers from Elemental could be found everywhere. The Mormon Church, the Department of Defense data centers, the CIA's drone operations, Navy warships, and Supermicro put motherboards in many other servers all over the world. This was terrifying. This is, again, according to Bloomberg Businessweek. U.S. investigators found the chips had been inserted during the manufacturing process, two officials say, by operatives from a unit of the People's Liberation Army. In Supermicro, China's spies appear to have found a perfect conduit for what U.S. officials now describe as the most significant supply chain attack known to have been carried out against U.S. companies, except they're all denying it now. They're all denying it now. They're saying, what is Bloomberg Businessweek talking about? Bloomberg Businessweek quoted numerous sources in the intelligence community and at Amazon and at Apple, but they didn't quote them by name. Very common practice. Somebody in the intelligence community isn't going to say, hey, it's me. They're going to go to Bloomberg Businessweek and say, look, this is deep. There's a variety of phrases they'll use. Deep background, off the record. Sometimes they'll just say, and I think this is the case here, you can use this, please do. We want the world to know, but don't quote me. One official from the, again, U.S. intelligence community, according to Bloomberg Businessweek, you notice I keep saying that, said as investigators found it eventually affected almost 30 companies, including a major bank, government contractors, and the world's most valuable company, Apple. Apple had planned to order, get this, more than 30,000 Supermicro servers in 2 years for a global network of data centers. 3 senior insiders at Apple, according to Bloomberg Businessweek, say that in the summer of 2015, it too found malicious chips on Supermicro motherboards. Apple severed ties with Supermicro the following year. And that we know is true. That's fact. But for what Apple says was unrelated reasons. Okay, so that's the story, explosive story that came out on Thursday. The next day, Apple, Amazon, Supermicro, and the Chinese government strenuously denied the allegations. Apple released a statement later in the day, as did Supermicro. It is a bizarre and, for those of us on the outside, incomprehensible conflict. Bloomberg Businessweek is a very reliable source, and frankly, I credit their reporting. You're not going to get reporting from a variety of different companies and the U.S. intelligence community that's the same lie. So what's going on? And I'm reading an article by Zach Whitaker for TechCrunch, who covers cybersecurity and national security. He's done it for 5 years, including at CBS. He says, even with this story, my gut is mixed. Where reporters across any topic and beat try to seek the truth, tapping information from the intelligence community is near impossible. For spies and diplomats, it's illegal to share classified information with anyone and can be punishable by time and prison. As a security reporter, you're either incredibly well-sourced or downright lucky. More often than not, it's the latter. You're just lucky. Naturally, Whitaker writes, people are skeptical of this spy chip story. On one side, you have Bloomberg's decades-long stellar reputation and reporting acumen. A thoroughly researched story, citing more than a dozen sources, some inside government, some out, and publishing enough evidence to present a convincing case. On the other side, the sources are anonymous, probably because some of this was classified. So accountability is difficult. And then you have the denials from the companies themselves. But, Whitaker points out, these are not bulletproof in outright rejection of the story's claims. They're subject to legal counsel and government regulation. So what to believe? I wish I could tell you. I don't know, and I don't think anybody knows. It seems highly unlikely to me that Bloomberg would have independent sources in a variety of places reporting the same story if it weren't true. if it weren't true. So I guess that's what I'm going with. But all is not clear here. All is not clear. What do you think? Maybe. Hey, are you an insider at a 3-letter agency over there in McLean, Virginia? Tell me. What should we believe? I think maybe the details aren't as important as the fact that we know this kind of stuff is probably happening. Most of what we use is made in China. The problem is it's kind of hard to put hardware, a chip, on a motherboard and not be detected. That seems a little difficult to believe. I don't know. 8888 Ask Leo, that's our phone number. This is the strangest story I've ever seen. Bloomberg even has pictures of this rice-sized chip. What is going on? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. All right, I'm going to throw one more little thing. Now, actually, Alex, come back here. Alex Gumpel, who works with the elementals. You're our flow master. He's the guy who's designed to keep the stream flowing. Amazon, in its denial of the Bloomberg Businessweek report that we just talked about, said something interesting. They said, our audit covered previous versions of the Elemental appliances. By the way, Amazon bought Elemental. That's why Amazon was so interested. These vulnerabilities have been publicly disclosed. Because Elemental appliances are not designed to be exposed to the public internet, our customers are protected against the vulnerability by default. That's not accurate, because elementals, the whole point of the elemental is that they go out on the public internet, right? They send our data out over the public internet.
There is an internal GUI to control it.
Yeah, we go internally to control it. But do our elementals not connect to the public internet? I know they're supposed to connect directly to Ustream and Twitch and Mixer, but they're sitting on the public internet. So this puzzles me that Amazon put something that is provably not the case in their statement. Now, the reason I point this out is that one of the theories is that the government said, well, you must deny this. You have no choice. This is classified information, and you have to just say no. You have to just lie. Now, these are, by the way, these are very detailed lies from both Apple and Amazon. They go on and on and on. Never, we didn't, no. But this in here, in this part, because elemental appliances are not designed to be exposed to the public internet, our customers are protected against this vulnerability by default, is actually untrue. All right, I'm going to stop on this one, but it's you chew on that, Alex, and see, is there any way that
Depends on the use case.
I guess it depends on the use case, but we put ours on the public internet. I hate to say it. We don't control it on the public internet. We have a private dashboard to it, but that doesn't mean a chip. The whole point being that if you put a chip on the motherboard in here that then went out on the public internet and connected with Chinese servers to download software and modify the operating system, that could absolutely happen. It's connected. Apple says, we have never found malicious chips, hardware manipulations, or vulnerabilities purposely planted in any server. Apple never had any contact with the FBI or any agency about such an incident. We are not aware of any investigation by the FBI, nor are our contacts in law enforcement. That's a pretty complete denial. So, what happened? Did Bloomberg really get it wrong? 8888 Ask Leo. It's a mystery. I like mysteries. Not particularly about getting hacked by the Chinese, but I like mysteries. Kim Schaffer, hello.
Good morning.
Just wanted to warn you, you might have one of those super micro motherboards or somewhere in there, because I think we purchased a few of them in our time. I want to find one that's not in service so we can look.
All
so we
right.
can take it apart. So just keep your eye peeled.
I will.
I guess we could take ourselves offline for a little bit and look.
That would be pretty hard here.
Yeah, and people wouldn't be unhappy. Plus, I mean, who knows? I don't know. So,
You want to start with your favorite topic?
Sure.
Facebook. Tom in Carson, California, seems to be locked out of his, and it's wanting his two-factor authentication.
Yes.
But he's saying he never turned that on, so doesn't know why he's locked out.
Okay, I'll tell him all about it.
All right.
Thank you, Kim Schaffer. Hello, Tom. Good to talk to you. Welcome.
Good to talk to you. Listen to you every weekend. Really haven't had a need to call until now.
Well, I'm glad you called. So 1 week ago, last Friday...
Yeah, they got hacked.
Well, they admitted to having been hacked by somebody who figured out a clever way to steal people's accounts. And they stole their accounts by basically stealing this little cookie, this token that Facebook's... You know, when you log into Facebook, you only have to log in for once, and then it stays logged in. Well, the way that works is when you log into Facebook, it stores this little piece of information on your hard drive that's unique to you that says, yep, that's Tom. That's good old Tom from Carson, California. Yep, let him in. Then this hack allowed bad guys to grab that little piece of information and use it for themselves. So what Facebook did when it found this is it deactivated 90 million users a week ago Friday. Now, is that about when you were unable to log in?
Yes, and actually... it's my wife's account. I can still log into mine fine.
So she was one of the 90 million, you weren't?
Yeah, because I'm very judicious about everything.
Well, it doesn't have anything to do with how judicious you are. That's what's scary about hacks like this, is you can be perfectly good and still have your Facebook account stolen. And we believe that actually one of my producers had his account stolen some months ago, and now we believe that's how it happened. So the way Facebook fixes it is by deactivating that cookie. And by the way, that would also log you out of anything you used Facebook to log into. You know, you can use Facebook to log into a lot of other stuff. So she's probably noticed that as well.
Well, yeah, like me, each thing, like Instagram and that sort of thing, each one, we don't log in from Facebook. We use individual login.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Turns out you are good. That was a very smart thing to do, because if they got that token and you had used that token to log into other sites, they'd be able to log into you. Now, you have to re-log in, and now they're saying, hey, we want your second factor. Normally what that would be is a text message sent to your cell phone.
Right.
Or another Facebook instance that you could use the code from, because there's a code generator in the Facebook app.
Right. I've been down that path. Of course, we can't get into her account. She only logs into Facebook from one thing.
Yeah, but the truth is, even if you had it on the phone, it would have been logged out too. So that code generator isn't going to help you.
No, and I tried from mine and generated a code, but
no, it's different. Yeah,
I knew that, but I had to try it.
Yeah, no, of course. You must use every outlet. So does it at some point in there say, well, I don't have access I know it does. Can't do it that way. What else can you do? And then at some point it should say, well, we have a phone number on record for you, or does it not?
Well, she didn't, and neither did I, but needless to say, I have gone in and put one in mine. Just like I did with Carbonite.
By the way, we've also learned that Facebook, once you put that phone number in there, uses it to sell ads against you. So thank you, Facebook. What a nightmare Facebook has turned out to be.
Yes.
But you have to use it. We're blackmailed into this. So it sounds to me like she's going to have to contact Facebook and say, look, I can't. And a number of people have had to do this, and they'll make you jump through hoops. But Facebook is the only one who can fix this mess. Oy, oy, oy. Scot Wilkinson's here. I mean, literally, and we're going to answer some home theater questions next. Scot Wilkinson is our home theater geek, and he's up here for a special occasion.
Happy to be, too.
You're here because, now, what microphone is Scott on? Two?
Two.
No, that's a call server. It's a call screener.
Test one. Oh yeah, here we go.
We don't have a mic 2, but if you can find one for me, that'd be great. Just shout. So
Hey, Leo.
the folks at TCL have
Hisense.
Whoops. Yeeps. Another Chinese TV company.
The two big
The two
Chinese
big ones.
companies, yeah.
Hisense had lent us a while ago a really kind of an amazing 100-inch projector. But it's not your traditional projector where you have the screen on one side of the room and the projector on the other side of the room. The projector's sitting right under the screen. It's what they call a short throw projector. It means it's only about 8 inches away from the screen. And in order to do this, they have to have a special screen that they said it's a Fresnel lens. It actually it's a little prism, so the light comes in from below and bounces straight out.
Yep.
Isn't that wild?
That's exactly right.
Yeah. And now this is an updated version they just brought us.
Yeah, you guys had looked at the original a few weeks ago, a couple months ago.
It's a DLP, and in this case, a laser-based DLP system, right? What does that mean?
Well, it means that the illumination source, the light source, is a laser. And in the first one that you guys looked at some time ago, there's one laser in there. It's a blue laser, and it hits a phosphor. Remember CRT TVs?
Yeah.
They used phosphors?
Yeah.
Well, this is the same sort of deal. The blue laser hits a phosphor, which generates yellow light, and yellow light can actually be split into green and red.
I thought yellow was blue and green.
No, it's blue. It's green and red.
Oh, it's blue and green when it's reflective. When it's transmissive,
correct.
It's blue. It's yellow and red.
It's green and red.
Colors. They're so complicated.
I know. But basically, if you have something that is emitting yellow light, that can be split into red and green.
Okay. So they've got the blue from the laser. And then the yellow phosphor, which is then emitting yellow.
Yellow, which is then split into red and green.
Red and green. So they've got red, green, and blue, which are the three colors you need to do the entire color spectrum.
Correct.
And DLP normally uses what, LEDs for the light? What do they use? Or fluorescent bulbs?
In a projector, they use either an ultra high pressure lamp.
Those are the things that burn out.
Yes, correct, and in short order too, and you have to replace them at a cost of $100 or $200 or $300.
So one advantage of lasers is they last a long time.
Very long. They're typically rated at like 20,000 hours.
Okay.
Which at 8 hours a day is, I forget exactly, but it's
years.
Many years. Yeah.
So this new one, actually, I was pretty impressed with the single laser, but the colors were slightly washed out. This new one has two lasers.
Correct. It has a blue laser and a red laser.
So its red is more accurate.
Well, I wouldn't exactly call it more accurate. We did a lot of measurements.
Brighter.
It is certainly brighter, no question about that. And it's very deep red. It is a very saturated red.
Yeah, I was looking yesterday. I snuck in yesterday, and but I have to say, now you calibrated it.
We have.
Did. So I think we had it on the Did you calibrate it on Thursday night?
Yes, Thursday night.
Because I came in Friday morning because I had to see this thing. It's 100 inches.
Yeah,
folks, if you've never had a 100-inch screen in your house, you'll get a sense. The good news is this screen. Does it fold up? There's ways to get it in the house, right?
Yeah, I'm sure it must roll.
You don't have to, because you don't have to.
You wouldn't fold it.
Okay.
That would be bad.
You don't want any creases.
No. But you can roll it up.
You don't have to take the roof off the house.
That's right.
which I mean, it's bigger than your door in some cases.
In certain directions, yeah. I mean, the point of this whole TV, they call it a laser TV. They want it to be a TV replacement, right? So they say, okay, think about buying a 100-inch LCD TV or OLED TV or something.
$100,000.
$100,000 and more easily.
Because I've seen them. I mean, Sharp had them. And
yeah. Plus, they weigh hundreds of pounds.
They had to move it in a 740. The belly of a 747 is so big.
Yeah, that original Panasonic 100-and-something inch plasma. Yeah, exactly.
I showed it on Regis and Kelly back in the day.
Yes. Well, in this case, it's so much easier. The screen is obviously just weighs a few pounds, no big deal. You can hang it on a wall easily, which they did here in the studio.
Yeah, it's kind of like a projector screen.
Yeah,
it's a little more solid than that, but it's kind of like a projector screen.
But then you put this ultra short throw projector 8 inches from the wall, and then you don't have to worry about walking in the beam of the projector light. You don't even need to be in a dark room. It's really intended to be a living room TV.
Plus, off-angle viewing was remarkable. You could actually stand at the side of the screen, and it still looks full color. Full. So this two laser, I was really impressed with. I thought it was much better.
It looks really good. It does. So basically, you have this red laser that produces the red light, and the blue laser still hits a yellow phosphor from which green is extracted. So you still get red, green, and blue. And
but you get better reds.
Certainly get better reds.
Brighter reds.
For example, the YouTube logo or the Netflix logo, which is red. Man, that red is like,
red.
Wow.
Well, I noticed you turned the red down a little bit.
We did.
When you calibrated it. Because I was watching the calibrated version, and the strawberries just didn't pop quite so much. And then I went to Vivid.
Well.
I have a Vivid setting, and the strawberries pop.
Yeah,
they really pop.
Yeah, but of course, you know me. I'm more into accuracy than I am into, ultimate knock you over the head.
Yeah.
So...
You get your choice.
Yeah, you get your choice, exactly. But the calibrated image looks quite good.
You thought the color rendition was very good.
Yeah.
It labels itself as a 4K high dynamic range, which every set sold today has to be.
Yeah, they do.
I just bought, my mom needs a new TV set. I bought her a TCL, 55 inches, 4K HDR for $327.
Yes.
It's kind of wild what's going on.
Man, the prices are just falling so fast.
Now, this projector TV is not a budget item.
No.
$10,000.
$10,000, exactly. But as we were mentioning earlier, you take a look at a 100-inch, if you could buy a 100-inch LCD or OLED or something like that, it would be way more than that.
Yeah.
So, you're getting a good deal there in that sense. This TV is best at bright images. The one thing that DLP is inherently not good at is black level and high contrast. And so we watched...
So HDR, that's what HDR is,
correct.
Right? Black level and high contrast.
Correct. And DLP simply struggles with that as a part of its nature. So, we watched a bit of Black Panther.
Yeah.
In the dark.
Yeah.
And it has some really dark scenes.
Yeah.
And those are not as impressive.
You lose the detail.
You lose some detail. But if you're in a living room with the lights on and you're watching a football game or something, this thing's going to be awesome.
I have to say, I was a little on the fence with the single laser. I like the size, but with this double laser, this would be a great TV. And the nice thing is it kind of goes where your existing TV is. The projector's a little bigger than
it's
a TV.
It's kind of a big box.
But it goes where your TV goes. And the screen goes where your TV screen would be. So if your TV is on a hutch or something like that that's has maybe a 30-inch depth, you could easily hold it. And you wouldn't have to rejigger the room, figure out where to hang a projector or put a projector. I think it's pretty interesting.
Right, exactly.
Hey, Scott, you want to stick around? We can answer some home theater questions.
Love to.
8888 Ask Leo. We'll do another segment with Scott. If you're on the line to talk about something else, hang on. We will get to you. But let's do some home theater in the next segment. Let's. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. But the screen is not native 4K, is it?
The screen itself doesn't care.
Not the screen. The projector is not native 4K.
It's actually the chip itself, the DLP chip, is half 4K. It has 4.1 million pixels. But because those mirrors that are on that chip can switch so fast, I mean, we're talking.
It's doing some sort of doubling thing?
It's a doubling thing. That's exactly right. Those mirrors can switch
faster
in like 16
eye.
microseconds.
Okay.
So it's
does
really fast.
2K plus 2K.
Well, more than that. The difference between 2K and 4K is actually a factor of 4. There are four times more pixels in 4K than there are in 2K. So this chip, 2K or 1080p, has about 2 million pixels. 4K has about 8 million pixels. And the chip itself has about 4 million micromirrors.
Wow.
But because they switch so fast, they can actually produce 2 different pixels perfectly in the space of a frame.
So it is a 4K TV.
It really is. It really is. Yes. From your eye's point of view, it's temporally multiplexed.
Well, there you go. I like my multiplex and temporal. Wow.
Yeah. So
that makes sense. Okay.
So
that's good.
Yeah, it's much better than.
But it's not HDR as direct view would be HDR.
No. Because
I thought the blacks looked pretty good. I mean, I wasn't disappointed.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. We watched Planet Earth, and there was some late night moonscapes.
Yeah.
But you're right, not a lot of detail in the black. So
not a lot of detail in the darks.
Yeah.
And I'm a sucker for black level and detail and low level detail, so which is why I like OLED.
Right.
But OLED's expensive. Exactly. But it's expensive.
Yep.
So this is a really good way to get a very large picture in your house without having to have a special room and have the projector across the room. And
I really want this TV.
I'm
really coveting it.
Yeah. The other thing about it, the screen itself, is that it's what's called an ambient light rejecting screen, ALR screen. So in addition to the Fresnel lens that takes the light coming up at like an 80-degree angle and shoots it straight back toward the audience, it also rejects light coming in from other directions. So that means you can have the lights on in the room, and the picture still looks pretty good.
We're just talking about phishing. Those are those emails that you get. They look real. They look like they're from your bank or Facebook or your Aunt Dawn, but they're not. They're designed to trick you into installing malware on your system, and they work. They really work. It's a problem at home. It's a bigger problem in your business, and there are a lot of phishing attacks. We call them spear phishing attacks that are targeting your business. PryLock, a new advertiser. By the way, these guys, I met Dan, the creator, the other day, are great. Will help you train your employees so they're not vulnerable. This is the number one thing I tell businesses they need to do. Your employees are the weak link in your security. They're nice people. They want to help. Customer service reps are in the customer service business. The problem is, if the customer's a hacker, that is not good for your business. 91% of all successful hacks, and you can say Sony Pictures Entertainment started with a phishing email. That's exactly how it started. The hack of the Democratic National Committee, phishing email. If you don't train your employees, the hackers will train them for you, and you will not like the results. So what does PryLock do? PryLock Security offers a best-of-breed security training platform. I took it. It was great. It has everything I talk about and a lot more. It's fun. It's engaging. It will automatically create, enroll, manage, deliver, track, and report your phishing tests and security briefings. It teaches your employees what to look for, but also teaches them how to make a phishing email, how hackers think, what they should be looking out for. And it is really affordable. In most cases, you're going to pay 70% more for comparable training. It's great. Uses the state-of-the-art platform. He showed me their Amazon Web Service setup, and it's fantastic. And it's one of the reasons PryLock saves you so much money. One-click setup means you can create a full year's training for 50 to 5,000 employees in less than a minute. You don't need an IT professional. It includes a 3-day baseline phishing test, which actually sends out, don't tell anybody, phishing emails to your employees to test them. And if they fall for it, you get to a PryLock page that says, this is just a test. If this were a real phishing email, you just bit. You just bit big time. A custom user page for each employee loaded with resources, including password managers and all the things they need. Security awareness training taught by, it's kind of fun, it's taught by a hacker. It starts out, nice ladies teaching you, the hacker gets involved. It's gamified. It has a 10-question final assessment. That gives you compliance, by the way. Compliance mandates may require that. It schedules and runs, and I love this, 24 additional phish tests throughout the year. So it keeps your employees on their toes. They learn from the training, but then roughly twice a month, they're going to get a phishing email that isn't really, but it looks very effective and convincing, and it tests them. Did they learn? Are they skeptical? It automatically enrolls clickers in if they click on it, in specific injection training videos if they click too much. Emails a report to admins, reports analytics in real time 24/7. If you're an IT professional, a managed service provider, they have some solutions for you too, and it gives you complete control over aspects of the phishing campaigns. You can build industry-specific phishing or use PryLock's library of effective phishing training emails. There's over 600 emails in there to con your employees. It is really brilliant. They use psychology, the psychology used by hackers. So they're training your staff not just in technical things, but the social engineering hackers use. It's not a list of do's and don't click this, don't do that. It really helps them understand the motivation of hackers, what they're trying to get, and how they manipulate you. And I was so impressed. The tests include opened phish, clicked links, downloaded attachments, enabled macros, data entered for credential theft. So it'll try to get your employees to do all those things, and you'll get complete analytics on every user, fish, and click. There's also a button, and I was really tempted. I didn't use this, that says send a friend a fish. It allows users to send friends or colleagues phishing email, and a learning page is showing what they missed. It shows you actually how hackers work, how they create these emails. And I have to say, knowing what the psychology is goes a long way to helping you look at an email and say, oh, I get it. Oh, I know. I know what's wrong here. PryLock offers a 1-year security program for companies as small as 25 employees for, get this is where they're really affordable, $395. If you have a small company like mine, every employee is going to take this. You really need to do this. I know you've been thinking, how am I going to keep my employees from clicking these links, from answering these emails? It's $395. If you're worried about your mom, your dad, your grandparents, or special friends, they have a single license gift card that will test them with 2 fish tests a month for full years. Very affordable. Great way to teach your family members, your friends, how not to get bit. You can never learn all the ways hackers can con and trick you, but PryLock will show your employees the psychology used against them so they're not the next victim. It's really the best way to do this training. I really love this company. I'm very impressed by the training. I went through it myself. I even learned a few things. PryLock.com, P-R-I-L-O-C-K, PryLock.com, like Privacy Lock, PryLock.com/twit. And we have a promo code Leo, of course, to save 30%. PryLock.com/twit. Use my name, Leo, as the promo code. This is what your business needs. PryLock.com/twit. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number. I'll talk next hour about the Microsoft Windows update 1809 that they yanked.
What?
They yanked. They put it out a week ago, last Tuesday. It started pushing out, or was going to push out, I think, on Patch Tuesday. And people started complaining that it's deleting their documents and in some cases even their profiles. And so Microsoft quickly yanked 1809. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But right now we can't resist the opportunity. Scot Wilkinson's in town. He's our home theater guru. It's nice to have you. And
nice to be here.
He also is up here to review TV that Hisense sent us. You didn't have room to put it in your house.
Sadly not.
So I
100-inch
said,
screen.
well, I guess if we have to, we'll set it up in our studio if you insist. 100-inch projection, and it's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
I have to say, it is really beautiful. It's a little pricey. It ought to be beautiful for $10,000.
Yes.
But Scott's up here reviewing it. In fact, you and our buddy Robert Heron from Heron Fidelity both are screen calibrators and AV reviewers. Robert has his own podcast with Patrick Norton, AV Excellence, and so you and he came on last Thursday
night,
to glom on it.
Yeah, Robert was very kind to bring his calibration equipment because it's a little bulky for me to take on the plane.
Ah, nice.
So he very graciously agreed to. He wanted to see this thing too because he had seen the original one that was here in the studio.
Yeah.
And
we had him review that one.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So he came up and because he lives relatively locally. And we did the calibration Thursday night. We stayed up pretty late because
How long does calibration take?
Well, for SDR, standard dynamic range, and high dynamic range, you want a lot of couple hours.
Taking a bunch of measurements.
Yeah, a bunch of measurements.
And how easy was it to set? So different TVs have different capabilities for customizing, right?
Well, that's true. Most of them offer the same set of controls, roughly. Certainly the basic user controls that anybody can tweak, and then there are the calibration controls, which are usually now in this user menu, so anybody can tweak those too.
Sometimes they used to be hidden in some cases.
Correct. They were in a service menu, which you had to enter a special code on the remote.
Right.
You don't really have to do that much anymore. But
what do you change? What are the settings?
Well, the settings are... There are two, basically. There's one for what's called white balance or grayscale, which is what color of white? You might think white. Wait a minute, white is white. There's no color in white.
White is white.
Well, there is. I mean, you might have a white that's slightly magenta. Or slightly...
Ask your wife; she'll tell you. Oh no, that's too yellow of a white. That's too blue of a white.
Exactly.
That's too red of a white.
So what you want is there's a very clearly defined standard for what the color of white that was used when the content was created. So the movie producers, the movie colorists, and the director all get together around a reference monitor that has been calibrated to be a particular color of white and to have particular colors of red, green, and blue.
It's not always white. It could be a more ivory white.
It could.
A warmer white. I know.
It could. Although, again, there's a standard.
Yeah, but they don't always use it. I remember in The Godfather, the cinematographer took the film, the exposed film, and dragged it through tea. He wanted to make it... He said at the time...
I never heard that.
He said at the time, it was a very nerve-wracking thing because I had to do it to the shot film, the done film.
Oh, man.
So if I somehow screwed it up, there goes the movie. But there is now in recent redigitizations of it, they've corrected it a little bit. It's not as dark and gloomy as it was.
Right.
But remember that first scene in The Godfather where he's sitting in his office in the mansion and it's his daughter's wedding day and he's receiving, supplicants.
Right.
Come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding.
Yeah.
And it's a very dark and gloomy scene. And the original, it's almost... You would like it. so dark.
As long as I was watching it on an OLED.
You would like it. You can barely see anything. I'd like to see it now on an HDR. There have been remasters that I think are a little bit. Yeah, they're a little bit less dark. And I don't know if I know that Francis Ford Coppola, the director, was involved in the remastering. So I don't know.
That's always a tricky thing, isn't it? When the original director or the visionary who came up with the movie isn't involved in the remastering,
right?
How do you know you're still remaining true to the creator's content?
So the creator's the one that chooses what white, so it's not a Pantone. He doesn't just say, "Well, use Pantone 0."
No, it's a standard that technically is called D65.
Okay,
which is a point on a graph that is in the white area of all the different colors that we can see.
If you've ever seen, and you can Google this, a color gamut chart,
otherwise known as CIE chromaticity diagram,
and it looks like a triangle most of the time, right?
Yeah.
Roughly like a triangle. Each point being red, green, and blue.
The points of the triangle being red, green, and blue. Yeah.
And so that's what they're messing with.
And then there's the white point in the center of the triangle.
Yeah, where that white point is.
And exactly where that white point is and exactly where those red, green, and blue points are determines how what the picture will look like.
So, when you're calibrating, though, do you know? Well, I guess you have some source material that you know that it's calibrated to.
Well, there are standards, and the software that we use, which is called CalMan from SpectraCal, has that programmed in. So basically you see on the screen a little chart and it shows you where the white point is. And then if you move the controls in the TV around, you see that point actually move around.
Is that the first thing you fix, is get that point?
Yes, the white point is the first thing you get correct. And you have to get it correct not only at one luminance level, but at all luminance levels from dark to bright, right? Because the white point at 20% or 20% of a peak white has to be the same color of white as 80%.
Wow.
So you do the grayscale. It's called the grayscale. You do that first, and then you do the colors. And once you get those all set up, then you start looking at real content and see how it looks.
Wow.
So that's why it takes some time.
Yeah. And you don't trust your eyes.
No, because everybody's eyesight is a little different.
Right.
And so what I see as a particular color, you'll look at and say, well, it's a slightly different color to me.
So the software and hardware, does this hardware like attach to the screen?
No, it's a meter. It's sort of like a camera. It's aimed at the screen. Yeah.
In the old days, you'd see with computer screens, people would calibrate them with. I used to call them screen suckers. They would just go right on the screen.
Right. The Spider is a good example of that. Yeah. There are those with a direct view screen that you just they slap right onto the screen, and
Right.
and then you can have the lights on with a meter that you're farther away
turn
from
off
the
all
screen.
the
You have to
lights.
turn off all the lights, which is why we did it at night.
Yeah.
Because,
so it's really dark.
Yeah.
That studio, you don't have to worry. There's no window.
Well, that's true. Except there is a porthole and the lights.
Oh, you're right. A little
in the
light from daylight would
hallway.
leak in.
Yeah.
So you did it at night in pitch black, and you're aiming this thing at the screen, and then the software is running. The thing is connected to a laptop via
Correct.
USB. The software is running.
Yep.
And then you mess with the little dials on the TV to get it.
Dials in the old vernacular, yes.
Yes. The sliders in
Yeah,
the TV.
yeah, yeah.
And you have to use a remote to do that.
You have to use the TV's remote to do that. Yeah, exactly right.
And you just
Yep.
till it's
And you
perfect.
watch the little point move towards its target. The target is indicated.
So all of that would say, oh, it's perfect. But I looked at it, I thought, well, that looks a little, the reds look a little washed out, and my eyes are spoiled.
Well, with OLED, your eyes are spoiled.
I want
certainly.
vivid.
You want vivid mode.
Scot Wilkinson's our home theater geek. His review of this TV in full will appear on our Screensavers show later this afternoon. We're going to record that. You could actually watch it if you want. As we record it, we let people watch. It's not the show. It's the live recording of the show before editing.
Yes.
You can watch the stream at twit.tv/live. We'll be streaming it to you via our Chinese hacked elemental. So, no, you're safe. You can watch it safely. I'm worried about us, though.
Yeah.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More calls right after this. Well, the difference is, so my LG, somebody's saying as long as you're paying that much, just get an LG OLED. But the difference is my OLED is only 60 inches or 65 inches.
Yeah.
This makes a big difference. They even they said they were going to make a bigger one, right?
Yeah, I think they're going up to 120.
I don't even want to know what that'll cost. But
Well, it won't be that much more. It'll be a little more, but
yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, it's a projector, so
it's going to be the
make
same,
it bigger pretty easily.
roughly the same projector. You just
Yeah.
make a slightly bigger screen. It costs a little more in
It's
material.
more for the screen.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. But you're right. The screen size difference is tremendous. It's really important.
Noticeable.
Very noticeable.
And if you have, we have a great room, as you know, in our living room. It's a super high ceilings, 18-foot ceilings or something. And,
yeah.
And it's a big room that ends up going into the kitchen and the dining. So it's all one giant room. So for us having a screen that big, we have now a 70-inch TV in there.
Right.
But we're 15 feet away.
Exactly.
It's dwarfed. And and so I
this
really like
100-inch
this.
would be great in that room. Man.
I maybe for Christmas. My wife will buy it for me. Honey,
I just want a 100-inch TV.
all I want for Christmas. Actually, I said, as long as I get it in time for the Super Bowl and the Academy Awards, I'm okay. And if we do get it, you're coming up for the Oscars.
Yeah,
all
man,
right?
I will. You bet.
You and Joanna have to come up and we'll have an Oscar party.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I will do that for sure.
So go ahead.
Fortunately, the Oscars dropped their idea of adding a category called the Best Popular Movie. You
Yeah,
remember
I think that was right, actually, because there's already People's Choice Awards and stuff. We don't need. We want to know what the Academy thinks.
Exactly.
Whoever that is. That's because the Academy is old white men, and that's who wins. Although that's changing. I think that's changing.
Yeah.
Do you want to take some questions?
Sure, happy to. I got one here, in fact, from Lee's7676. Is Vizio going to start installing OTA over-the-air tuners again in their 65-inch 4K model monitors? And we have a great view of Mount Wilson in our home. Yes, indeed.
Mount Wilson's where the antennas in
Where
LA are.
where the OTA over-the-air antennas are, broadcast antennas are in LA. That's right. And Vizio has, in fact, put tuners in their TVs again. They took them out in 2016. And people complained bitterly, and so they put them back in. So
Isn't that interesting? Because I've always said what I really want is just the dumbest monitor you can give me.
Yeah.
I will add the intelligence. I will add the
tuner. Right.
And then maybe that's a video file point of view. But
it is. No
most
question
normal
about
people
that.
just want a TV.
Yeah.
Give me a TV that works.
Yeah. and for surprisingly, I found it a little surprising that a lot of people wanted the tuner in the TV.
Yeah.
Because you can get live TV now from streaming,
right?
From Sling, from YouTube, from Hulu. There's a number of live TV streaming providers, but
and anybody who has a cable box has a tuner.
Yeah.
So
they have a cable tuner. They don't necessarily have an OTA.
Right. Yeah. Maybe is OTA still that popular? Maybe it is.
Surprisingly, it surprised me.
Yeah.
But Vizio saw the writing on the wall and said, "Okay, we're going to put them back in."
They were one of the few to take them out.
Correct.
So
correct, and they saw
they
the
took
error of their ways.
a little chance. So yeah, I bought my mom a TCL. It has Roku. It's HDR 4K.
Was it the
55 inches?
Was it the 6 series, or do you remember the model?
It was probably it's a cheapie.
It's a cheapie. Okay, well,
but
she's
okay. I mean, she's 85. I don't think she's really going. This picture. Let me see what I got. I'll tell you. She said, I'm going to get a new TV. What do you recommend? So I'm looking on Amazon, and at $300, that's kind of an impulse buy.
Almost, yeah.
It's like, so I said, well, we'll talk later about what to get. It's the 55S405.
The S, okay. So it's a step down from their flagship, but that's fine.
Well, no, I think that's fine for her. And what I like is it has Roku. She loves the Roku because I got another TCL, and she really loved the Roku built-in. So
plus, it doesn't mean. I mean, sure, you could buy a Roku box and put it connected to the TV, but then that's 2 different remotes.
No, it's too complicated for her.
Too complicated.
Yep.
So you put Roku in the TV. I think that's what TCL had in mind.
Yep. And it's a direct lit LED. 3840 by 2160, 120 hertz refresh rate. It's got 802.11 AC, dual band MIMO. I mean, I guess so. The panel is what the sacrifice is. Not as good a panel,
right? And probably if you say it's direct lit rather than edge lit.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at that. I thought their lower end TVs are less than top
direct
end.
lit is better than
absolutely
edge.
Better than edge lit. Yeah. Now it might not have local dimming. So direct,
I don't see FALD in here.
You don't see FALD, so it's probably not. So
HDR 10.
Not Dolby Vision, probably.
Not Dolby Vision.
The highest, the R series, you got the S series. The R series has Dolby Vision as well.
Right.
So that's one reason it would be more expensive. Plus it has FALD, which means the LEDs behind the screen are divided into little zones, and if part of the picture is bright, those LEDs brighten up, and if part of the picture is dark, those LEDs darken, and you get a better perceived contrast. But that costs more money because it's more processing power. Right. It's what I recommend if you can afford it. But if, again, in your case with your mom, it's probably fine.
She's not going to care.
Yeah.
And it has an app so she can plug her headphones into her phone and use the app.
That's great.
There's a lot to be said for it.
Yeah. TCL and Hisense,
I think they're selling close to cost because they want to get in the market. That's my thought.
Well,
they just don't have the brand name yet.
And I think they're doing really well. I think that they're the huge companies. I mean, they're in China. They're like number 3 or 4 or something like that. Really, really big companies. So I think they're doing a good job, and they do want to get into the U.S. market, no question about it. Which is why Hisense sent you these 2 projectors.
Thank you, Hisense.
Thank you.
And if you've got a Chinese chip on there, I don't care. I don't care. Maybe that's why they're so cheap. They're trying to get them in every home in the country. I didn't think of that.
No.
Well, they can listen in on my mom. I don't think she's saying anything of great national importance. What this Bloomberg story said is that it's industrial espionage. They want to get into companies because they want to steal
their secrets.
Patents.
Yeah. Let's see. PDO is looking at a TCL 65-inch 6 series. Great TV. Should I buy now or wait for their 2019? Well, this is the perennial question, isn't it?
And we're getting close, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, we're going to see new models at CES in January, and then those will come out sometime in the spring or summer of next year. So the question always is, do you buy what's here now or do you wait until the next one? And then the same question comes up next year. Do you buy this one or do you buy the one that's going to come out in 2020? I think if you need a new TV, buying one now is a perfectly good thing to do. I have no problem with it at all. Yeah. There may be some new feature or something. There may be. Now, the big thing that we hope to see at some point in the next year or 2 is HDMI 2.1, which is the next version of HDMI. And it could potentially have faster bandwidth and several other features, and there are a lot of people saying, I'm going to wait and not buy a TV or an AVR or anything unless it has HDMI 2.1. Well, that's going to be another year or 2 before that actually gets into the market.
Right.
So if you can wait that long, then fine, wait that long. But if you really need something now, I wouldn't hesitate.
Good to know. Scott, we're going to go back.
Okay.
Do you want to go get lunch? Relax. Play with the TV.
I'm going to go play with the TV
Go watch TV.
All right.
Thank you, Scot Wilkinson.
Sure, you bet.
Home theater geek. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk. The tech guy. Starting to sound like Lou. What is that? Mary Tyler Moore? The guy in Lou Gray. Ted Knight, right? Hello, Mary. The tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 888. Hello, Ted. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. and Canada. Microsoft has paused the rollout. They call it a pause. ZDNet says pulls, yanks, kills the rollout of the big feature update they put out on Tuesday. It's called 1809 because it was slated for September 2018. Let's get it, 1809. The spring update was 1803 for March. It came out in May. Early October is pretty good for 1809. They've been beta testing it heavily. This is the thing that baffles me. They test these things on the Windows Insider program with millions of users in all conceivable scenarios. They have more data. Apple does this too now, and it's really a great thing, I think, because, well, in theory anyway, you're testing it so thoroughly, there should not be any problems. In a support document updated today, Microsoft said it's halting the rollout because users complained that this new version, this feature update, it's a big update. It's one of the, twice yearly big updates, deleted files after the update. We've paused the rollout, said Microsoft, quote, for all users as we investigate isolated reports of users missing some files after update. Now, one of the reasons Microsoft does a staged rollout is just for this reason, just in case. So they have a weird system. As of Tuesday, you could go to Windows Update on your machine. If you have a Windows 10 machine, you could go to it, and it would say, yeah, there's an update. Microsoft calls those people seekers. So if you're seeking an update, it'll say, yeah, I have it. But it won't push it to you right away. It won't say, hey, I have an update. So probably, well, let's hope most of you have not yet updated. Problem is, people who listen to this program, certainly all the geeks I know, I can't wait, I got to get the new version of Windows is here. And so I, like everybody else, installed it. I don't think I lost any files. Now I'm worried. I'm going to go check because, the last thing you do is go see if all your stuff's there. Seems to be working very well. I upgraded, let's see, Surface Go, Microsoft's little tiny one, a Surface Studio, Microsoft's big one, and this Lenovo that's sitting in front of me, a Lenovo T470S, all of which upgraded, I think, without problems. So it's, it's hard to say exactly what's going on. There have been other issues reported, incompatibilities with Intel Display Audio device drivers, the task manager not showing correct CPU usage. But the biggest problem, according to ZDNet, is with deletion of user files in the Documents folder. Here's on the Microsoft support forums, a guy named Robert Zico says, I've just updated my Windows using the October update. I deleted all my files of 23 years, 220 gigabytes. Yeah, well, let me just, now I'm worried. Let me just check my Documents folder. And just to see, yeah, everything's there. Everything's there. In fact, there's stuff I wish weren't there. I've been trying to... So my stuff's still there. Is yours? Did you update on Tuesday or since? Check that Documents folder. Users have been investigating ways to recover their deleted files, but without success, according to ZDNet. Some users reported on the Microsoft support forum that the Recover software, which I've recommended in the past, it's like Recover, but it's Recover, R-E-C-U-V-A. It's really not like Recover at all, is it? R-E-C-U-V-A, which is a free program, was able to recover some files, but only in some cases. Microsoft apparently had a similar problem in April when it put out 1803. I didn't know that. So don't know what's going on. But do know that Microsoft's taking this seriously enough that it's saying, nope, we're not going to put that out. I have seen some complain that not only does it delete files in your documents folder, it deletes entire profiles, which would be really even much worse because your profile is your login, your account. To delete that would be essentially to delete you. Yikes. So this is a fairly serious issue, and again, why is this coming up? I don't understand it. They millions of people tested this program. They should have known. I don't understand how they don't know. Dave, Sioux City, Iowa. Hi, Dave. Thanks for hanging on. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
You sound a little croaky.
Uh-oh. Well, what can I do for you?
I think I have a question that is probably pretty widespread interest. I've got a home network, and it has the tendency to drop individual computers off of the network so they can't see each other, regardless of what the shared situation is on each one. It has, I've got quite a few devices on the network, but that hasn't seemed to affect this situation.
So what is it that these devices suddenly are no longer on the internet, or is it that your file shares are dropping?
No, the file share is the issue. They can all find the internet all the time without a problem.
So they're still connected, and they're still on the network, but the file shares are getting dropped.
That is.
And you're using, to do the file sharing, you're using Microsoft's file sharing system?
Yes. In the old days, in the XP, I've got one XP machine still on the thing there. You would have to go to the work group to find the rest of the computers on there. The Windows 10 days here it's not designated.
Yeah, they've changed how the whole thing works. And I presume that now that you're in Windows 10, you kind of disconnected and reconnected just to make sure.
Yes, at times, if I reboot them or the system goes down for some reason, power loss or something, it comes back up, and usually you can see them. But it seems like if the machines are idle for a while, you're not accessing the shared function.
It just goes away.
They tend to forget where they belong. Yeah. Now this is all DHCP too. DHCP. Designation rather than...
Yeah, you're not using static IP addresses for each device.
Correct, yeah.
And by the way, that might be one way to do it. I wonder if this shouldn't happen, but it could be that you're getting new leases. So this is on Wi-Fi?
No. In fact, 6 PCs are 5 PCs
are wired.
4 PCs are hardwired.
What are you doing in there? How can you got a lot of hardware?
We got several workstations. Let's call it that.
Yeah, wow, that's great.
One in the office, one by the one by the relaxation pit, and then
they're
one
hardwired, and you're sharing the files from a server. Where are the shares, or are they just talking to one another?
No, the shares would be between individual computers.
So one computer talking to another computer, and its hard drive is shared.
That's what the actual issue would be. Yeah. One of them tends to have a lot more photos on it than the others, and so you kind of want to access that one.
So this is what we call a peer-to-peer equals, and somebody's saying in the chat room, this is a known problem with 1803 on the peer-to-peer file sharing. And that what you might want to do is set up one as a server, kind of centralize it, and have all the machines connect to a central server. In fact, this is what I generally do. I don't have any experience with this peer-to-peer sharing because I have just bought a NAS, get a big bunch of storage, put it all there. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I'm looking at what other people are suggesting in the chat room.
Yeah.
Another person saying... Is this all Windows 10, or are you a mix of 10 and XP?
There's only one XP. The rest of them are 10 except for the Mac.
Oh, and there's a Mac. And the Mac is using SMB for the sharing?
That I'm not sure.
Yeah,
about,
probably
I'm not a Mac person.
Yeah. I wonder, Dan in VM, who said, yeah, I had this problem with 1803, said I had to edit my host file with fixed IP addresses. I wonder if fixed IP addresses would help. That'd be the first thing I'd try. Instead of using DHCP, I'd assign each machine. Now, you're going to have to keep track of this because you can't have collisions, obviously. But assign each machine a sequential, 192.168.1.10.1. Usually I don't do them next to each other. I do like 1.10, 1.15, 1.20, 1.
Sure.
And the idea, then you have to write this down. Although it'll be in your router, it'll be a table. So if you forget, you'll be able to figure it out. But also name the machines so that you know which machine is which. And then the other thing is somebody's saying, the XP might be part of the problem. You might want to try it with the XP not on the net.
I will try that. That one's getting eliminated pretty quick anyway. But this problem has continued from a traditional Netgear router, and then I upgraded everything on a Google mesh router system.
Good. The other thing somebody's saying, and I don't know if this is true, but Twisted Mister is pretty reliable, is he says you should make the router the default DNS server. Not, normally it's your ISP, if it's Comcast 75.75. He said, no, make your router the gateway, 192.161.1.1 or 100, depending on what your router is. Make that the DNS, and the router will pass it along. But he says that will help. Twisted Mister also says desktops running in Workgroup only allow 5 connections. So that may be the other problem, is you don't have enough. If you have that many machines, you need to have a server in the Workgroup because then you can have 10 connections.
Right, okay.
So that might be... No, Twisted Mister's very reliable. Not merely pretty reliable, very reliable. So he's actually giving me the most information here, and it seems like he knows what he's talking about. Knows whereof he speaks.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, good luck.
Great. Well, thank you.
Is it your business office, or you just like having computers everywhere?
No, it's at the home, and I've got a genealogy set up down the basement. It has two computers running. I've got a laptop by the TV.
You got a lot of horsepower.
And,
that's awesome.
Big old
I think a NAS it might be time to get a NAS. What I do is I have a common documents folder that all my machines have, and it's synced from the NAS. So the NAS is the source of it, and all the machines get a copy of it. You could put the music folder, whatever folders you want, some machines have access to, put that all on a NAS, and it never drops for me. It's always there. It's very reliable.
Sure. Well, this is an ongoing issue because you get one computer and load it up with photos, and you don't take the time to sort them.
So you do a NAS, because then it'll automatically sync.
Buy another computer.
I know. Do an NAS.
Hard drive.
It'll solve it.
Yep.
Hey, it's nice to talk to you. Thanks for listening.
Great, thank you.
Take care, Dave.
Yep.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number if you want to call and talk tech with me. 888-827-5536. Website, techguylabs.com. And we had a long conversation off the air about getting his network working, and all of that will be encapsulated in the show notes, which are free and always available at techguylabs.com. Thomas, Vancouver, Washington. Beautiful part of the country. Hi, Thomas.
Hello, Leo. Yeah, it is really nice out here. The forests are great. Oh, yeah. me too. I love living up here. So I have a couple of questions. One of them is about Google. The other one is about the recent patch, 1809. But sounds like, if I heard you carefully, that the patch has been paused.
Yes, you can't get it anymore. So it's a good question. The question is, at this point, when's Microsoft going to fix it and put it back on the line? And the truth is, because it's a feature update, it's not a security patch. This isn't a crisis. Microsoft takes their time to release these. They test for months. In fact, they're testing the next one. They're calling it now the first half 2019. So it's 19H1. And they're testing it already in the Insiders program. So they test for months. And so there's no rush to get this. It just adds a few new features. And not even, I think, in this case, anything too significant. So, we geeks like to get, new stuff whenever possible, especially if it's free. In this case, maybe be smart to even after Microsoft puts it back out, wait a little bit. As I said, I don't have any problem, but some people did. No hurry, in other words. Yep.
Yeah. Another little additional thing about Windows before I move on to my Chrome question. Recently, I have experienced random bits of my file not being able to save. I use Camtasia, and there was this one recent moment where Windows Defender blocked my Camtasia of running a new file to my documents or anywhere my libraries folders, and along with my OBS, because I'm a video production hobbyist, and I use those kind of softwares just to make my videos look nice.
Camtasia and OBS are commonly used to do screen capture, often in gaming situations. And so what's Defender saying? You can't save this file?
It's just this. It did a block. I forgot what the notification said. It just blocked Camtasia from running the file. I tried the procedure again, and the file was just fine. Same with OBS, but I had to restart my computer in order for me to create it.
That's interesting. Are you running as a limited user or a standard user? I mean, a standard user or as an administrator?
Admin. I'm the owner of my computer.
You're the admin, yeah. Boy, that is I could see if you were running as a limited user that it might say, well, you don't have permission to write here. It doesn't sound like it just says it's suspicious. I think, one thing you might want to do is set up a shortcut for Camtasia and OBS to run as administrator. When you right-click on an application, you can actually, the pop-up will give you at one of the options, run as administrator.
Yeah.
And it may be that those apps need more permissions. If they're run as administrator, I don't think Defender would block. Defender would say, oh, well, you have the rights to do this. I haven't seen this problem, but I don't use OBS or Camtasia that often. I would also check, obviously, the Camtasia and OBS forums and see if anybody else is having a similar problem, because if it's a common problem, it may also be a configuration issue. It may have something to do with those programs. It's not unusual at all for file permissions to get messed up, and maybe those programs are trying to write their settings, for instance, to a file that they should have access to, but for some reason the file permissions have gotten messed up and you're not the owner anymore. Try running as a you can simply right-click the application icon and run as administrator just to see if that fixes it. You may have corrupted files. You may have a corrupted file system. You may have a hard drive that has some issues, and the software itself may be damaged. So it might be an interesting idea to reinstall just to make sure it's not that. So there's a few things, a handful of things among the probably hundreds that could have gone wrong. This is the problem. We have these operating systems we use today are so hideously complex that things can go wrong in so many different places. It's not always easy to figure out what's happening. I think there's a certain amount of intuition that goes into solving problems like this. And that intuition is built up over years of solving problems like this. I mean, Microsoft's own issues. I mean, it seems to me, maybe I'm asking too much. It seems to me that if you make an operating system and you test it for 6 months with millions of people, you would not have a problem that it deletes hundreds of gigabytes of files when it gets updated. You would catch that. But that's the problem. This stuff's so complicated. Windows runs on so many different kinds of hardware. I'm very curious to find out what it is that caused this bug. I don't know if we'll ever know. Sometimes Microsoft's cagey about, they don't like to talk about problems. So it may be that maybe they won't mention it. But I'd like to know, why would an installer upgrading an operating system just routinely go into your documents folder and delete stuff? That shouldn't happen. That should, and OBS should be able to write files, and Camtasia should be able to write files. Or, they have in the past. What's really weird is that you said that if it doesn't work, you try again, and it does, or you reboot, and it does. That's really weird. I almost always, and I shouldn't probably be so glib, but I almost always suspect the hard drive in cases like that. And the reason I do, and the reason I mention it, is hard drives are usually the first thing to have problems on a system. Because in a lot of the older systems, that's a moving part. Those drives, they're spinning thousands of revolutions a minute. They get hot, they get cold as they're turned off, then they get hot again, which means they expand and they contract. It's actually amazing that hard drives work at all. Solid-state drives, people were very worried about these solid-state flash memory-based drives, that they wouldn't be as robust as spinning hard drives, which now, if you think about it, seems laughable because they're much more robust. We just didn't know. We didn't have any experience. We were afraid they would wear out prematurely. But I don't think that's the case. So another great fix for this kind of thing is to replace that spinning drive, that older spinning drive, with a new solid-state drive. It used to be they were very, very pricey. Prices have gone down. They're not quite as inexpensive as spinning drives because, of course, the prices of spinning drives have also gone down. But they're pretty reasonable these days. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Oh, now they see the conspiracy theorists are saying, well, maybe Microsoft discovered Chinese spyware. No, because it's deleting files. It's just deleting files. Our show today brought to you by my old buddies, Tim and Don and IT Pro TV. You've heard me talk about IT Pro TV, of course. I know you know about IT Pro TV. If you're in IT, you need IT Pro TV to keep your skills up, to learn new skills, to make yourself more valuable. If you want to get into IT, you need IT Pro TV to get the certifications you need to get the job you want. A recent MIT study found that IT occupations, and that's a broad range, everything from security to setup to maintenance to fixing, IT occupations grown by 19.5% in the last 2004 to 2017. So what's that? Last 13 years. 8 times the growth of other jobs over the past decade. That's amazing. While the earnings growth for college graduates has pretty much flattened since 2000, earnings significantly grown for individuals working in IT. That makes perfect sense. Every company needs help. Every company needs an IT security professional. There's 1 million jobs, literally, unfilled IT security jobs in the United States alone. It's never too late to start a new career in IT or move up the ladder. IT Pro TV has you covered. From CompTIA and Cisco to EC Council and VMware, all the certs you need. Over 4,000 hours of binge-worthy on-demand training, and they're making more every day, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. They have 5 studios. So they're making many hours of content every week with great hosts. They're very engaging. It's a talk format. It's kind of like what we do. In fact, Tim and Don freely admit they were inspired by Tech TV and Twit, and it's really fun. They even have a chat room going on if you watch live. Courses in the course library are very easy to find, listed by category, cert, job role. Of course, they have a great search as well. And you can watch it anywhere. They have apps on Android and iOS. Of course, you can watch on the web, but you can also use those apps to Chromecast. They have a Roku app. They have an Apple TV app. They have a Fire TV app. So really, anywhere you want to watch, you can watch IT Pro TV. It's so much better than a class or trying to teach yourself. This is the engaging, fun way to learn IT. Oh, and check out the team portal. If you've got a team, their Pro Portal helps you get your team up to date and keep them learning new skills And you can control things like logins and see all the viewing time, the courses viewed, the tracks completed. It's a really great portal. Do this. Go to itpro.tv/techguy, itpro.tv/techguy, and you can get a free demo of the Pro portal or individual monthly memberships, which include, by the way, a free 7-day trial and 30% off if you decide to subscribe forever, as long as you stay active. Just go to itpro.tv/techguy and use the code TG30. And to give you some idea, the IT Pro standard subscription is $570. So 30% off, that's $399 for life, as long as you stay active. It's very affordable. It's a great way to get in the IT field and then keep your skills up to date. itpro.tv/techguy. Use the code TG30. And $399 compared to what it costs to go to technical school, you're saving a lot of money. Flexible training, binge-worthy content, life-changing results. itpro.tv/techguy. Don't forget the offer code TG30. It's just a good excuse to play Johnny Cash. That's all it is. Johnny Jet is here, our travel guru. He's up in Toronto enjoying the leaves. Hi, Johnny.
Hello, Leo.
Wow, it's beautiful up there.
I'm just outside of Toronto. I'm in Ontario, which is one of the largest provinces. It's huge. And I just did a tour of York, Durham, and Headwaters. They actually just created this is kind of promotional. They paid for my way to go, but they have a new audio tour guide, free audio tour called Temperance and Temptation.
Ooh, I like that name.
and the website is temperanceandtemptation.ca. And actually, I'll tweet it out or put it in the chat room. You can do a self-guided tour. I had no idea. I come here all the time because my wife is from here. It's less than an hour's drive from the airport, 45 minutes actually. You stay at the Hockley Valley Resort. Awesome. There's a winery right next door called Adamo, ADAMO, and they have the ski hill. I mean, I was really
So there's
impressed.
the temptation. Where's the temperance?
It's all over. And so there's all different spots you can go to. You know, we took Jack. We have our 2-year-old.
Fun.
You know, so we made it family friendly. But there was a Grand Spirits distillery that had the nicest high chair I've ever seen. I was like, what? And then you go to Landman's Bakery. You can see the goats.
Now I feel bad. I went to Toronto 1 week a month for years, and I never did any of this. Oh, man. That's
exactly how I felt. I was actually just writing my story, kicking myself, going, listen, I literally been here 100 times, maybe hundreds of times, and we never leave, the metro area, and it's so close. So I highly recommend it. I can't wait to go back. Actually, I just told Natalie this morning. I said, "Listen, we got to go back and teach Jack how to ski at this ski slope. I mean, it's small, but it's the perfect place to teach someone." And
how fun!
And yeah. So anyway, that's my one of my websites. I have 2 more.
Just Google temperance and temptation; it'll come right up.
There it is. And then for because the leaves are changing, and we really got lucky because they said the leaves just really started changing this week.
I can see them out your window. I'm looking at Johnny on Skype, and it looks beautiful. Yeah.
So anyway, here's a website for you. It's SmokyMountains.com /fall foliage. Remember we had this conversation once
last year.
Yes. So it's their new fall foliage prediction map. And so I'm not sure how accurate it is, but they have a little dial on there, and you can slide it, and you can see how the foliage is changing.
Interesting.
Am I pronouncing it correct? I remember last year you really gave it to me, and I don't blame you.
I didn't give it to you. I just mentioned.
No, you gave it to me, and I deserve it.
I said, you might want to pronounce it foliage. It's Foliage, foliage. A lot of people say foliage. I don't know why. And see, and he hung up on me. You see, never be mean to Johnny Jet. Okay. So, but is the foliage in the Smoky Mountains really beautiful? I guess it must be.
Well, it's actually not. Just the Smoky Mountains actually have developed this website.
Oh.
It's just a promotional tour for them, but you want to use it for Smoky Mountains. You want to use it for the whole country.
Oh, it'll tell you everything.
everywhere. So most of the data is coming from NOAA, the National Oceanographic, whatever, atmospheric. I can't remember what the acronym stands
for.
The
National Foliage Administration.
Yeah.
Yeah, National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Agency, I think.
There we go. Agency.
Okay. It's SmokyMountains.com/fall-foliage-map.
Map. Yes. So actually, and it's saying that New York State is really at its peak.
Oh man,
I'm right at the very
tip of it. What am I doing here? Oh.
But I still think there's a little bit more time. Actually, it'd be interesting to read the chat room after this to see what they think of it, if it's accurate for where they live. I know you have a lot of people on the East Coast, all over. So
it's nice. They have a little slider on here that shows. So the peak, the best time is the kind of dark red, and so yeah, this is going to be the next couple of weeks. Are going to really be the peak time in New England.
So if you're planning, if you want to see the leaves, and it's a magical experience if you've never witnessed it before, and I know a lot of my friends in Southern California really haven't.
No, we Californians don't know anything about it. Yeah.
It's truly magical, and I love going to the Northeast or Canada to experience it.
It's when the carotenoids, the anthocyanins really beef up in the flavanols in the trees. And who doesn't want to see flavanols in the trees, after all?
Yeah, I mean, I took great photos this week. I'm going to post them. I know you're not on social anymore, so I guess you're going to have to see them.
Put them on your blog, johnnyjet.com, or subscribe to his newsletter. That's what I did, is I replaced my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram with my blog, and I just put them on the blog.
I mean, you're smart because that way you control it. You can't, you have no idea what these other social media giants are going to do, if they're going to.
I just don't like them. That's all. I mean, honestly, it's easier for my friends because they just have an Instagram account and they follow everybody they want to see. And maybe they'll see my pictures, maybe not. But, there's all the other stuff in there. I understand why you use Facebook or Instagram, but I just don't like these companies. I mean,
it's a great tool for business, especially when I'm in the travel business.
No, you got to do it.
But I can understand why people are worried about their privacy and things like that.
Sure. So that's a good one, too, SmokyMountains.com. I guess probably the easiest would be Google Smoky Mountains and fall foliage map.
Yeah, and I'll put it in the chat room, and I'll tweet it out.
Follow Johnny on Twitter, Johnny at Johnny Jet. And then, did you have an app for us?
Yeah, I do. Do we have time?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so this one is called the Aurora Forecast app. My Aurora Forecast map, because next month the Northern Lights season begins.
It's November, colors, February. Don't you? You're a colors guy.
This week is all about colors, and so it's available on both iOS and Android. It's highly rated, 4.6 out of 5 on both of them.
Ooh.
And you can tourists can use it, or serious people who want to see the Northern Lights. I've actually never seen them in my life.
I haven't either.
I'm embarrassed to tell you that.
No,
I just don't like cold. I don't like cold, and
I'm kind of with you on that.
I like cities.
Yeah, you have to kind of go up to Spitsbergen and Lofoten to see these things. You have to go up to the.
Well, actually, one of my friends was in Alaska last week, and they posted the most amazing shots. And they said, it's prime time right now, even though according to this app, November and February. And actually, this app shows you where in the world it's best right now. Also, they even have tours. You can they tell you what the current KP index, which I don't even know what the KP stands for. I assume you probably do, but I have no idea.
I do not.
Okay. It says find the current KP index and find out how likely you are to see the Northern Lights.
Okay. Cool.
So
very, very cool. Johnny J's got.
It'll even alert you if you're in an area where it's going to come out. It'll alert you. Say, there it is.
What do they do? Do they move? They shimmer a little bit, right? Or are they just static in the sky? I've never seen them.
I think it's a little bit of all the above, but I can't tell you for sure.
I grew up. I don't remember what it was. My mom read me a children's book that had Northern Lights in it, and so ever since it's been kind of romantic in my mind. I'd always wanted to see them, but I'm like you. I don't want to get cold.
Yeah, but I'm gonna do it one day.
Someday. Hey, until then, go see the fall foliage because it is beautiful right now. If you're in New England or Canada, southern Canada, you could see amazing red and yellow leaves. They're just gorgeous. It's so pretty. I grew up with that in Rhode Island, and so I kind of miss that.
I know. I grew up right there in the state next to you, and I took it for granted.
You take it
now
for
living
granted?
in Southern California, I don't
see it. Go to JohnnyJet.com. That's his website. You can subscribe to his free travel newsletter there, and you can also follow him on Twitter and Instagram at JohnnyJet. And then, of course, each week here. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Safe travels. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
I always visit my sister in March. And in June and July. And the first time, this week, I go down her street. Her street looks
it's beautiful. Yeah.
All the trees.
I don't have Johnny. I don't know why I can't. It's just black in Skype.
Oh.
I don't know what it is. Look at that. Oh, because you switched the cameras. Yeah.
I forgot to mention it's Thanksgiving here in Canada.
Oh, October 13th?
It's the second Sunday. Is it the second?
It's a
second
Sunday.
Sunday in October.
That makes sense.
But we're leaving tomorrow morning early for another country and not the U.S. And
you're gonna miss Thanksgiving.
No, we're actually celebrating it today. So the turkey's in the oven.
And
it's just like
how nice.
Yeah, my mother-in-law is.
Do you stay at her mom's house? Is that where you stay?
Yes.
Oh, how fun! How fun! How cozy! I know winter's coming because I got my Harrington's ham catalog yesterday.
Well, we went up to the Hockley Valley Resort. I opened the door and you could just smell the wood fire.
I love that smell.
Fireplace burning, and it was like just brought back so many great memories. Oh man! But then the next day it was 70 degrees, and then today it's cool. Actually, it's not even that cool today. It's just overcast, and it's supposed to be cold tomorrow. But on Tuesday it's gonna be 76 degrees.
It's like a teenager. Their voice changing. It comes and goes. It's the seasons are changing. It's a little confusing right now. Yeah. I actually miss that seasonal change, having grown up in it. California is just so. I mean, we have seasons, but they're so subtle.
Very subtle.
Yeah.
Well, you have more of them than we do down in Southern California.
That's true. Yeah, it's starting to get. It's been a little chilly and rained. It rained pretty hard one day, so we're starting to go.
That's good. We need the rain.
Oh, I know. That's what anytime it rains, that's what Californians all say. We need the rain. It's good. We need the rain. Well, Johnny, love to you and Natalie and Jack, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank them for letting me have you for a few minutes.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Take care.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, those Harrington hams are good. They have smoked turkey too. But I think we're going to get a ham for Thanksgiving. What I do, I get one of them Harrington hams, one of the big bone-in half hams. It's like $70 for a bone-in half ham. It's about 20 pounds or something. It's heavy. And I put it in the oven. I wrap it in foil. I do a few brown sugary kind of things. And I put it in the oven and I cook it low and slow for hours and hours, like at 210 degrees for 8 hours, something like that. Oh, man. Low and slow is the only way to cook a ham. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo, talking high tech. If you've got a question, comment, suggestion. Dave is in Orange County. Dave, Leo Laporte here.
Hey, Leo, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Sounded like you were serenading me there with your ham talk. That was a little creepy.
It was a little creepy. I apologize.
It got weird.
The people on the radio didn't hear it. That's all. It's just it was just you and me, baby. Yeah, we're talking about low and slow ham cooking. Yeah.
Yeah, I learned a lot about ham on hold.
Yeah.
So we should call in and do that. I'm part of the self-employed army, I'm sure, of people that listen to your show because there's no IT department over here.
Yes, you're the IT department.
Yeah, it's you and me, unfortunately. I had a 2011 iMac that was just a workhorse. I put a bunch of RAM into it, and it worked great. About a month ago, I turned it on, and it was dead. No power, no nothing, which is just the worst.
Oh, it is a terrible feeling, yeah.
Took it in. Apple says power supply's fine. Your motherboard is fried.
Oh.
So that'll be, $600 or over an aisle to was a new one. I said, well, I'm not going to $600 in that. So I bought a brand new, the base level, whatever the specs are, 27-inch iMac. It's beautiful. It's fast. It's wonderful. That lasted 2 days. Turned it on, dead.
Oh, no.
Took it back to Best Buy where I got it from, and they didn't really diagnose it much. They just said, well, it's 48 hours old. We've never seen this happen before. We'll give you a new one, right? I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's DOA, yeah.
Yeah, but you know how much time goes into in the two days is basically.
Oh, it's a pain in the butt.
All the apps, all the
reinstall, and
Yeah, exactly. So I've had this new one now from Best Buy for 3 weeks. Turn it on yesterday. Guess what?
Yikes.
It's behind a brand new power surge.
What kind of surge suppressor?
Yeah.
What kind?
Oh, let me look. I knew you were going to ask me that. Let me look. It's right here.
I mean, it does sound like you're going where I'm going, which sounds like there's something going on in the power of your house.
We had Edison out this morning. They said it's not us. It's you.
You could be inside the house. That's true. I mean.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking. My wife's trying to get the brand off of there, but it doesn't really say much.
Worth getting an electrician out, because that's what you need to do. He needs to test it at the plug. And it could be the polarity's reversed. It could be it's not properly grounded. But it does sound like surges.
With just the plug here. It could just be the
Yeah. Somebody needs to test it at the plug. Absolutely. And then, it's not expensive. Get an electrician out. And it's inexpensive to put in even, and you might ask about this, whole house surge suppression. Con Ed says it's not theirs, but maybe it is there, and their problem. Maybe there are little surges coming down the line, and if there are, whole home surge suppression protects everything in the home. But I have to tell you, an off-brand
surge protector trick or something.
Now, an off-brand surge protector. There's not even a brand name on it. You probably got it at the Home Depot, in the rack, right?
Yep.
That ain't gonna do nothing.
Oh.
Ain't gonna do nothing.
Now I know.
No, yeah.
Right.
So if you're worried about power problems, what you want is a power conditioning surge suppressor. So not one of those little cheap, basically it's an extension cable with 5 plugs in it, not one of them. In theory it does, it's got a fuse, but you can get, and it'll have a battery in it. Because what it'll do, you'll be running off the battery, and it will condition the power to a clean sine wave, and it will catch surges. It will also catch, and this is also a problem for hardware, low power.
Yes, that's what the Edison guy said. He said, I'm not seeing big rises or drops, but it could be in here, so have a great day. He's gone. Yep.
And by the way, a good one, if you plug it in, I mean, you get one. Now, they're not cheap. They're going to be a couple $100, but you've spent some money on an iMac at this point. Oh,
yeah. My time. I mean, the amount of time I've spent just switching stuff from one iMac to the other is insane.
Yeah. So I think it's probably worth.
Conditioner.
Yeah, it's probably worth getting a conditioner. I like Triplite. Triplite's one. APCC is another.
APCC.
And the one I most recently got that I'm really liking, I put my network attached storage on it because because it is that I really don't want to lose that. And I got one that I really like from it's called CyberPower. CyberPower, and I'll just tell you what the model number is because I don't remember off the top of my head, but because I believe I bought it on Amazon, I should be able to find it fairly quickly. Yes, here it is.
No problem.
The CyberPower. It is now what you got to do is figure out how much wattage you need because the battery is going to protect that. But this thing wasn't too expensive. It was $100. The CP825 AVR LCD, Intelligent LCD UPS system. Now, this isn't really, it's not really a super power conditioner, but it certainly will protect from surges and low power. A really
good. Be what it is, right? I mean, 3 iMacs in a month. It's power, right?
Yeah, probably. Probably. I mean, it could be static as well, but that seems highly unlikely. Do you have cats?
No. You have a rabbit.
Oh, actually, rabbit. Don't ever let the rabbit in your office.
We don't.
Because they will eat power cables.
Oh, trust me.
And you'll either have a dead Mac or a fricasseed rabbit.
Yeah, I prefer the rabbit go, quite frankly.
At this point, we're having rabbit stew, kids.
Yeah, no kidding.
No,
Absolutely.
yeah, we had pet bunny, and I let it in my office, and there are a number of rodents love power cabling. I don't know why, but they'll just
not get shocked, Leo. How do they don't get shocked?
It didn't. No, it just killed the power. It didn't kill the bunny. And I confess, perhaps, to having some bad thoughts at that point.
Yes, I do too. Cyber Power CP825 then is one you would like.
The reason I got it is also talks to the Synology and lets it know, we've lost power, shut down. There's a lot of intelligent, but it does
online. I could get it online, Amazon.
Yeah, it's on Amazon for $97. It does offer simulated sine wave output, which is going to clean up your power a little bit, but most importantly, it's going to give you real surge protection. I have to be honest with you, it is no surge suppressor that is less than a lot can really protect your stuff. But in most cases, they come with insurance that,
this one has insurance. That's why I bought it. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah, well, see if you can get them to give you to pony up.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try. I'm sure Mac will make me whole, but Mac's not going to do this forever,
Yeah, it's probably at this point they'll say, dude.
Yeah, it's Apple.
Dude.
You can use your Apple Care.
Yeah.
I bought the Apple Care. But
that was smart.
You can't.
Yeah, that was
you
smart.
Can't do that forever either.
I would check. I would honestly spend $100 on an electrician.
No problem.
Have him come out and check the plugs.
Yeah, we're going to do that too.
It will be a problem for other devices too if you've got.
Yeah, well, it hasn't yet. That's what's so weird.
How old is the house? Is it new?
No, it's a condo. It's probably 25 years old. So we went around and asked neighbors,
Have they had problems?
Nope.
No.
Not that we can find them. But the guy that lived here before us was an electrician. So you know what that
you definitely need an electrician in there. He was messing with it for sure.
Something.
No electrician can just sit and let the way No, he's rewired it all. I guarantee you.
I bought a mechanic's car one time, and that was a mistake as well. I thought it would be well maintained. Yeah. No, it was not. It was
we now know what happened for sure.
I think so.
Oh, yeah. You bought an electrician's house. You got something interesting in there.
Yeah, so we'll have a guy out to check it inside.
I would.
I think a conditioner no matter what.
Yeah, you got to have that. That's just a given.
Okay.
These things are too expensive to just let them,
Nobody knows that these surge protectors are useless, if nothing else.
They're not. The cheap ones aren't really worth anything. You need something with a battery.
Yeah. Did not know that.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I'm here to talk about tech, computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones. You got your smartwatches and all that jazz. 8888, ask Leo. If it's got a chip in it, we'll talk about it. If it's the T2 chip, oh boy, that's the new Macintosh chip that it shows up in their new MacBook Pros and their iMac Pro. The T2 chip is a ARM-based processor that Apple uses to run the Touch Bar on those MacBook Pros, but also it's for security. The T2 chip it stores your Touch ID for your fingerprint. The MacBook Pros use the fingerprint reader on that Touch Bar for that. It stores, I presume, other information like secret keys. And Apple says it's, we've got to protect it, which is why we're hearing rumors now that Apple will make your MacBook Pro or your iMac Pro inoperative if you get it fixed by anybody but Apple. Now, they haven't implemented that. This is a story that appeared in the Sun. Rotten Core. Sun is a kind of a tabloid in the UK. Apple makes your MacBook inoperative if you get it fixed at local repair shops. Not quite true, according to iFixit. They haven't at least turned on that capability. iFixit is, I think, a great site. And we should mention that they have been a sponsor of our shows, our podcasts. But what their goal in the world is they tear down everything, they take it all apart, and is to generate repair guides for everything, from your MacBook to your McDonald's Happy Meal toy. And then they sell the profit in this for them is selling the parts. Problem is, of late, a lot of companies don't want you to fix their stuff. They won't sell parts. They won't release manuals. They won't tell people how to fix things. And it's actually given rise to a movement called the Right to Repair movement. I wonder where you stand on this. If you buy a product, a car, a refrigerator, a tractor, a computer, a phone, and it breaks, should you have the right to get it repaired by somebody other than the company that made it? In fact, do you even own one of these devices? It's a big deal in the farm states because John Deere, the tractor company, will not let Shade Tree Mechanics fix their tractors. They say, well, there's too much proprietary software in our tractors. And the way they enforce this is interesting. And Apple apparently is planning to do something similar, is that the device, after a repair, will not work until special proprietary software is run on it. Software only John Deere or Apple has. No one else can get access to. And that software basically, now an Apple says, well, but this is a security thing. So does John Deere, but it's a security thing. We're just going to validate that the repair didn't, encroach on our proprietary software. There was no copy made of it. Apple's going to say that the T2 chip's secure enclave where your fingerprint is stored is still secure, hasn't been modified. No Chinese companies put a little rice-size chip on it, whatever. Now, Apple has not yet done it. In fact, iFixit actually did a lab test on it to see if they could modify these things and get the thing back working, and they could. But this software exists, AST2, and it's only provided to Apple stores and a few select authorized Apple service providers that under strict confidentiality and business contracts mandating what parts they use and what they charge. Apple says it's to protect you, and actually that's believable. It's credible. It is to protect you. But it has the very real side effect of keeping people from repairing their stuff. Apple, for instance, there are a lot of iPhone repair companies out there, aren't there? But Apple won't sell them parts, so they have to get parts from old iPhones or third parties. And there, as you probably remember, the fingerprint readers on iPhones, if the screen was replaced, it involved replacing the fingerprint reader, and there was a fairly significant Apple problem, a bug, where if that had happened, the phone wouldn't run anymore. Apple said, "Oh no, that was a bug. We didn't mean that," when it happened, and fixed it. But they really don't like third-party repair shops. They use secret toolkits, both software and hardware. They make special machines. It goes way back to the beginning. Steve Jobs didn't want anybody to get into a Macintosh, so he used proprietary Torx screws. You had to have a special Torx screwdriver. Unfortunately, that was easy to duplicate, and people were able to get into their Macs pretty quickly. But Steve didn't want you to get in there. I mean, they got more and more adamant about that. And you couldn't make the case it was about security at that time. They just want to keep repairs to themselves. So iFixit, to their credit, did a display replacement on one of the new 2018 MacBook Pros with the Touch Bar to see if they could run it normally. And after they replaced the screen, it did run fine. So if Apple has this capability, it seems like they do. They haven't yet pushed it. And the reason I bring it up is not to do some sensationalistic thing saying, oh, Apple's going to keep you from repairing it, but just to let you know, and maybe encourage you to let Apple know that this would be a problem if they did it. Many state legislatures, I can't remember, I think it's 20 states, are looking at right to repair legislation to protect your right to repair stuff you own, to make sure that companies offer you manuals and parts. If you go to repair.org, you can find that information. If you Google right to repair, you'll find a Wired magazine article that came out last month. John Deere just swindled farmers out of their right to repair. This is in Wired magazine. A lot of companies make a lot of money on repairs. But shouldn't you be allowed to fix your own stuff? After all, you own it, right? It's an interesting debate. And I hope that I would like to encourage Apple to make third-party repairs possible, because Apple often doesn't want to fix stuff. You remember our caller last hour who had 3 iMacs fry on him, and what Apple said is, well, we'll have to replace the whole motherboard at $600. Maybe that's true, or maybe there was some small part that could easily be fixed, but Apple doesn't want to get in there, desolder, resolder. They don't want to do that. And a lot of companies nowadays, that's how it works. It's all modular replacement, which makes it expensive and incidentally encourages you to buy a new Mac, which this guy did, right? Repair.org if you want to learn more about the right to repair in which states, and it's a lot of them now. Wow. It's almost every state. Wow. Have legislation along these lines. And you probably should let your state legislator know you like this idea. 8888 Ask Leo. We're in an era of activism. Let's get active, right? 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 888-827-5536. If you've got a question, a comment, a suggestion, you want to talk about the right to repair, now's your chance. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Our Tech Guy podcast brought to you today by Rocket Mortgage and Quicken Loans, the biggest lender in the country. Mostly, I would say they're the biggest because they're the best. They've been number one in customer satisfaction according to J.D. Power 8 years in a row now. That's pretty good. That's how you get to be number one in volume. And it's also because they focus on the customer experience. Buying a new home is a pretty stressful experience, right? You got to get dressed up, go to the bank, fill out a long application, then go, call old employers and banks or get your old pay stubs and statements, maybe go up in the attic. It's a lot of work. I know. Tomorrow is the 5th anniversary of buying our home, the home Lisa and I live in. And it went on for literally 2 months. It was endless. I think we applied in August and we moved in October 7th. That's crazy. We almost lost the house. Now, man, believe me, the next time it's rocketmortgage.com/techguy. Here's a way they're taking the anxiety out of it. First of all, no trip to the bank. You just go to rocketmortgage.com/techguy. It's all online. You can do it on your phone if you want. Answer a few questions. Within minutes, you'll get pre-qualified approval. That feels pretty good. Boom, you're good for it. You get to choose the loan you want, the term, the rate, the down payment, and then boom. Now, what happens next is even better. In the next 24 hours, one of their loan officers, and again, this is no work on your part. You don't have to go get any information. They've got relationships with all the financial institutions. They can get everything they need. But a loan officer will verify income, assets, and credit, and within less than 24 hours, give you verified approval. Now, that gives you the strength of a cash buyer. You actually get a letter. You can bring the realtor, the seller, that says they're good for it. They got the loan. And that's huge because a lot of people go to try to buy a house. They go to the seller and make an offer saying, contingent on us getting the loan. Put yourself in the seller's shoes. I've got somebody here that's got the loan. I got somebody here who says, I'm going to get the loan. Who are you going to sell it to? Puts you right at the front of the line. And then the third step comes in. And this one reduces anxiety too. In fact, probably the best part. Interest rates have been going up, right? They were flat for a long time. This wasn't an issue. But now that they're going up, there's pressure to buy fast. And the last thing you want to do is buy the house you and your family are going to live in for years fast. This is your most important purchase ever, right? So you want the time to really find the right place. So the third step of the loan approval, they call it the power buying process at Rocket Mortgage, is the rate shield approval. This is brand new because times have changed, right? They will lock your rate. They say, you're going to get in that letter a rate. They will lock that rate for up to 3 months while you shop, up to 90 days while you shop for a house. Even if rates go up, and they almost certainly will because they're trending up, yours will not. It's locked. If rates go down, which doesn't seem all that likely, but let's say they do, your rate would go down. So it's only got a ceiling. It doesn't have a basement. So you win no matter what happens. Takes all the anxiety out. There's no pressure. You don't have to rush. Take your time. Get the house you want thanks to the power buying process. They call this Rate Shield approval, and it is awesome. Exactly what you'd expect from the #1 lender in the country because they're thinking about their customers. To get started, it's very easy. In fact, even if you're thinking about getting a house or refining, go right now to rocketmortgage.com/techguy. Set up the account. Rate Shield approval is only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply based on Quicken Loans data in comparison to public data records. They're an equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS ConsumerAccess.org, number 3030. Here's all you have to remember. rocketmortgage.com/techguy. rocketmortgage.com/techguy. And we thank him so much for making the Tech Guy podcast possible. Now back to the show we go. Ho-ho. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Back to the phones we go. Martin, Palmdale, California. Hi, Martin.
Hey, hi, how you doing?
I'm great. How you doing?
All right, long time listener, first time caller, Leo.
Well, good. I'm glad you called. Thank you.
Hey, what do I have to do to go to vacation with you?
I know. Sometimes people get mad at me. I'm going on vacation. I've earned it. Believe me. I've worked 40 years in this business, working weekends and working hard, working long hours, and finally I get to take a little time off.
That's my dream vacation. What you're doing, that's
Thank you. Vacation. Oh, you heard about the last one? Yeah, the one I'm going on? Yeah.
Yes.
That's not till next year, kids. Don't worry. Don't get upset. But, you can go with us. Just join us. It'd be fun. Somebody said this. We should do a Tech Guy cruise. Wouldn't that be fun?
I'll be fantastic.
That would be so much fun.
I'll be fantastic.
What can I do to help you today, though?
Okay, I inherited the computer from the office, and I'm trying to give it to my wife, and every time I try to create a new account, it's trying to connect to the domain server, and I'm not able to do that.
Yeah, and a lot of times when you take a computer home from work, the first thing to do is to get the IT guy to clear it up, because they've got all sorts of settings like that, and oftentimes you don't really have access to those. Do you have an administrator account?
Yes, I do. Yeah,
Okay.
I log in as administrator, and I created an account for her. But when I try and log in, it keeps on looking for the domain name for our office.
Yeah, so you need to go into the networking settings and turn that off. Let me see where that would be. As long as they haven't set it up, because it's not unusual. But sometimes businesses set it up that you can't change that. If you give a computer to an employee, you don't want them to mess with it. So it's conceivable that they have set it up that, using a thing called Policy Editor that says the user may not change this. But if you, I'm trying to remember where this is, and maybe somebody in the chat room.
Me crazy all day.
Yeah, it's somewhere in the settings. But where? And something I don't actually deal with very often, so I'm not sure where it is. Is it Windows 10?
Network. Yeah.
Yeah.
Change network setting, change options.
So I think if you go, my guess is if you go, first thing I always do, by the way, is just go in the search in the system settings and search for whatever's bugging you. In this case, if you search for domains, you'll be able to, it says go into the accounts settings. And under the account settings, there's a entry called Access Work or School. And you've almost certainly got in there a setup that says, log into the domain. You should be able to remove that. And I don't have it here, so I can't. You should be able to disconnect from the work computer domain, and then you'll want to delete the entry for it so that it doesn't look for it anymore. You did create a new account for her, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, and everything is working. Otherwise, everything's working fine. You can install software and all of that.
Yeah, I can't even log in as a new account, so I can log in back to my admin. Every time I try to log in to her, it's just trying to connect the domain.
Yeah, it won't, because your old account was probably set up to work with that domain, right?
That's correct.
Worst case, and I actually recommend this, whenever you get a used computer, I would just start over. If it's running Windows 10 now, you can erase it and start over. That way you won't have any corporate stuff on it at all.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, that's almost always, if you buy a computer used from somebody gives it to you, and it's easy to do. You'll go to Microsoft, and actually you can Google this. You just want the Microsoft Media Creation tool, and it basically will create a USB key. I'm sure you have one lying around. I think you need an 8 gig USB key. Okay. And you can use the Microsoft, log into your account, download the Windows 10 ISO file, and create the media. It will, it may ask you for a serial number. Just ignore that. You don't have to give it a serial number, and download it. And you're right. It'll put it on the USB key, and then boot to the USB key, format, erase the drive, and install a fresh new install of Windows 10. That's always the best thing to do anyway. You don't know what kind of stuff they put on there. There's all sorts of stuff they have on there.
I know.
You may also want to go into the BIOS settings, what we used to call the BIOS settings. They call it setup now, and make sure that that may also be where it's got the domain set up. So go in there and look through all the settings in there. And
I never thought of that.
Yeah, there's all sorts of corporate settings in there too. You want to turn off. What kind of computer is it?
It's an old Dell laptop.
Yeah. That's normal in a business. They often put stuff on there just to, protect the employees and make it easier for the employees too. I mean, logging into your work domain is great because that's where everything is, but not for your wife. She doesn't need that stuff.
No.
Hey, thanks for the call. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
I'll take you on my next cruise, Martin. All right.
All right. Thank you.
You got to do a Tech Guy cruise. I think that's a great idea. Roger in Upland, Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy.
Yeah, good afternoon, Leo.
Hey, Roger.
Hey, quick sidebar. I just retired last year from the school across the street to the north from where your daughter almost went to.
Oh, neat.
You wanted her to.
Yes.
I was another one of those gigabit to the pillow guys.
Ah, was this the Claremont colleges?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, how neat. That's a great system there. That's fantastic.
It is.
Yeah.
I've been away for a little over a year now.
Have you retired?
Yes, I retired last year.
How's that been?
It's interesting. I don't have as much to do anymore. I'm trouble finding things to do.
I know. One of the nice things about this job is I think I can do it. I think they're going to carry me out.
That's good.
It's pretty easy. I'm just sitting here talking,
I probably could have worked a little longer, but
hey, why not? Why not? Time. So what can I do for you?
The reason I really called is my son has I believe it's Samsung phone.
Yeah.
On the AT&T network, and it's always 2 minutes fast, which I find a little bit interesting.
That's disconcerting.
His wife, who has the identical phone, it might be one model number different, but it is also Samsung, on the same carrier, so they would nominally be on the same cell site, I'm sure, at their home, and hers keeps perfect time.
What
Any ideas?
And
he's, rebooted the phone. And
I wonder, there is a setting for the Apple Watch. You can have it 2 minutes ahead. It says that won't affect anything else. I wonder if there's a setting in Samsung. Wouldn't be surprised that you could set the time ahead. Let me look. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. I have a Note 9 right in front of me here. Which Samsung phone is it?
I'm not sure. It's a couple years old at least.
Samsung is notorious for putting in a ton of stuff in their systems. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of is that there's a setting that says, because, sometimes people like to keep their clocks ahead so they're not late.
Right.
And I was so surprised to see that
that's apply to him, by the way.
Well, there you go. I was so surprised to see that was in the Apple Watch. I thought, well, that's pretty funny. Let me see if I'm looking in the now this is a more recent Samsung phone. But let me just see if in the time of day there's anything like that. And of course you can always turn off automatic date and time and set it correctly.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, but I mean, it's nice. Set date.
I like mine having, I like mine.
Oh, I love it. It's such a convenience. It used to be we're of a similar vintage. You had to set your watch. You don't have to do it anymore. You're always accurate. And I was always, I guess because of being in radio, I was always obsessed.
Yeah, with having the right time.
Having the right time. I actually have almost all my clocks are going to be useless next year because they set themselves to the WWV standard, and they're turning that off next year, which is very frustrating. Yeah, I don't see any setting for that, but I wonder maybe on his older phone there is such a thing.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it myself. I'll have to, next time he's here or I'm down there, I'll have to take a look at it myself.
The only evidence to this is that the Apple Watch will do that. So I wouldn't be surprised if, and knowing Samsung loves larding on the settings. They just love it. What did you teach? Or did you teach?
I didn't. I was in IT. I did networking.
Gigabit to the pillow, baby.
You bet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
On the same subject as phones, I have one of the original Nexus LG phones on the FI network, on the Fi network, and I love it.
Wow, it still works?
What, Fi or the Nexus?
The Nexus.
Yeah, it still works fine.
Nice.
In fact, it even has good battery life.
That was that was one of my favorite Google phones ever, actually.
Yeah. I just wondered if it was time. I've had it almost 2 years, a year and a half at least. And
the Nexus? No, it's a
new one.
Well, is it the Nexus or the Pixel?
It's the Nexus LG.
That's more
by LG.
Oh, from LG. Oh,
from
okay.
LG
I didn't realize. Okay, I'm not familiar with that one.
There were a couple of people, a couple of manufacturers that manufactured Nexus.
Made Nexus phones. Okay.
One was Huawei, and
it was a Nexus 5. Yeah. I remember this. Yeah.
I just wondered if it was time for a new Nexus.
You wait and see, because Tuesday, Google's having an event announcing their new Pixel 3 phones. I'll tell you, the biggest thing the upgrade will give you is the camera is amazing in these phones.
Yeah, I don't take all that many pictures.
If you don't care about the camera phone and the thing's fast enough for you, the only other reason is I don't know what version of Android you're on, but it's probably
8.1.
Oh, good.
It refreshes quite frequently.
That's very good news. That would be the only real reason to dump an Android phone is if it wasn't getting the updates, but it is.
It's getting all the security updates, everything.
Fantastic.
And, Fi seems to push them pretty quick.
I had that Nexus 5. I loved it. I thought that was a great phone. So, yeah, if you're happy with it and you're getting the latest version, Fi is great, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it.
Love Fi, especially if when I travel, because it works anywhere.
It works on Wi-Fi networks, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Because anywhere there's free Wi-Fi, you've got free phone.
Right. Well, you get phone anywhere too. I mean, the data is still $10 a gigabyte.
Yeah, which is awful expensive, I think.
Yeah, I guess it is if you use it a lot. Yeah. But you only pay $20 for voice and well, if you don't use it, then it doesn't cost you anything. That's the other thing.
Yeah, I've actually turned that off because I didn't want it because I left it on by accident one time and I was out somewhere where there wasn't Wi-Fi and it used.
Well, they have a new thing that after 6 gigabytes they don't bill you.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's never more than $60 a month. Well,
my average bill is $25.
Oh, Verizon's being nice to you.
No, it's not Verizon.
Oh, it's not. Oh, okay.
Well, no, it's Sprint and
Fi, right.
T-Mobile.
I got to run.
Sprint.
Great to talk to you. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
WA6ZBP signing off.
7-3. W6TWT. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number. Let's go to line two. Line 2 is Paul in Lake Forest, California. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Leo.
Thanks for hanging on.
Yes. So what I have is I have 2 devices hanging, connected, hardwired to my router.
Okay.
One's a PC, one's a NAS. And a while ago, I was having a problem that appeared to be connected to my VPN provider, where my computer would just drop off the network for no reason, and then suddenly be back on later for no apparent reason either.
Yeah.
But what happened this one time I was trying to solve it, I swapped some cables around just to see if the other network cable would work. And now my NAS is nowhere to be found.
Well, I think the new cable doesn't work for sure.
Well, I swapped it back and forth.
And now it's lost. Oh, wow. That's interesting.
The computer always works. And the NAS never does. And it's got a red light on the power switch that says, I'm not working.
Oh. So it doesn't have to do with the network. It's just the NAS stopped working.
Yeah, well, it could be.
Yeah, the red light's telling you. I don't think the red light has to do with the network. It sounds like it has to do with other issues.
Well, there are a lot of different things that the red light can tell you in the manual.
They need more lights.
In order to know what it is, you have to log on to the dashboard.
Oh, which you can't do.
Right.
Can you connect? Let's see. What could you do here? Who makes the NAS?
It's a WD. It's their Twin Bay. One of their Twin Bay ones.
Not my favorite company in the world. Western Digital. What we should do is define these terms real quickly. Western Digital makes something called, a lot of companies make these, network attached storage. It's basically a full computer, but it has some special attributes, mainly lots of drives and lots of storage. That's why Western Digital's in the business. It sells drives. But it also lacks a computer screen or a keyboard or a mouse. But you connect it to your network, and then you can get on it by logging in from some other computer on the network. And usually it's used for data storage, whether it's backup, serving movies and music. But there are other things a NAS can do. I use my NAS for a lot of things, and I love it. Yeah. But I'm not that fond of the Western Digitals. How old is it?
It's less than a year.
That's really dumb that they put one light on that goes red, and they say, well, if you want to know what it means, go to the dashboard. Well, if what it means is my network interface has died.
Yeah. It's one of these that has two Ethernet ports.
Yeah.
So if you had a switch that could do that sort of thing, you could connect them both.
Yeah.
Double throughput.
That's not unusual. NAS's exactly will let you have.
But neither one of them helps.
Neither is working. Let me think. Could you direct connect it to a laptop? I wonder if you could do that.
Let's see here.
You might try if you have a laptop with the dashboard software on it.
Well, I only have one laptop that has an Ethernet port on it, and I haven't used it. No, I don't have the dashboard software on that yet.
Yeah. Well, that would be one thing, or even a desktop, but even with a long wire. But I would try connecting directly instead of through the router. And if you connect and run the dashboard software, I would think it should find the Western Digital and maybe give you some information on what's wrong. Yeah. I have seen Western Digital NASs fail at a higher rate, I think, than most.
Yeah. Well, the reason I picked this particular Western Digital because it was supposedly had built-in transcoding for your Plex server.
Oh, that's neat.
So as a Plex server, it was highly recommended.
Oh, yeah, that's neat. Yeah.
So
usually network-attached storage devices they have processors. They're running an operating system and everything, but normally they have very slow processors. So it sounds like Western Digital said, hey, it'd be a good thing if we put a faster processor or maybe even a chip designated, a DSP chip designated to do transcoding for Plex. That would really be a nice feature. I use Synology NASs. I think they run Plex very well as well, but that's it's a big expense, and I think you want to get to your NAS. Does it have a USB port? Can you read the drives directly?
They have the USB port, but only for hanging off
other drives. Okay. So what your mission is now is to just connect it directly to a computer via Ethernet and see if you can get to the dashboard. It sounds like, and it's given that both Ethernet ports are not working and you've tried different cables, that sounds like that there's a serious hardware failure on that thing. It's funny because network-attached storage usually has multiple drives, and they're usually configured using RAID or something like RAID to be very robust, so a drive can fail and you don't lose any data. But what they don't talk about is, well, what if the motherboard, what if the circuit board on the NAS fails? What if the NAS dies? Then what do I do? Do I have to buy another NAS and take the drives out? That might be. You might have to buy a duplicate Western Digital, take the drives out, and put it in another one. Transcoding is something that's probably pretty well supported in most NASAs with a decent speed processor. That's the key. They, because they don't have to put in fast chips, they often save money by not putting in fast chips. My Synology and my Drobo both will allow you to add also a additional small SSD drive as a caching drive, and that speeds things up as well. That's a very nice feature. Maybe that Western Digital has failed, and the only way to know is to connect directly to it. You got to figure, that's your assignment. Figure out a way to do it. Tim in Moore Park, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
What free internet anything can I use to run for office? What free internet anything can I use to run for office?
My goodness, what has prompted this, my friend?
I'm running for president.
Okay, good luck, and I wish you the best. Truth is, there's lots of ways that you could, run for president or, run for local. I think you might want to start with a local office first. First thing you do, anybody would do, whether you're running for president of the United States or dog catcher, is create a website. And there are a lot of places you can create free websites. Google's got its own, they bought Blogger, which was one of the very early Blogger sites, and so they call it Blogspot, but Google has a free website maker. AOL has one called Tumblr, TUMBLR.com, and they're a great way to make a free website. And that's the first thing to do, which is, of course, put up a website that has your picture, your name, the office you're running for, and then your positions. You might also want, very important, to have a page on there that asks for donations. Any candidate for office, and frankly, any business, and I think any individual should at least have a personal or a business or a candidate's website. And making a free one is easy. We have a sponsor, WordPress.com, that offers a free tier, but they're as little as $4 a month. I like WordPress a lot. That's my personal site, and that's very easy. Squarespace is another paid blogging site that's very powerful, very good. There are a lot of choices out there. It's a pretty simple. Don't confuse blog. In fact, I shouldn't even use the word blog, except that's what Google calls them. A blog is just a website. That's all it is. Blogs started, it must be almost 20 years ago now. It was short for weblog. And the idea of a weblog was that you would log sites that you'd visited or maybe insights that you'd had or pictures or whatever, and you just put them there in chronological order. And that's what Tumblr is. That's what a blog is. But really, it's still just a website. You can still do anything you want with a website. Good luck, sir, with your candidacy. And actually, I guess you probably should create a Facebook and a Twitter and all that, too. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Thank you, Mr. Pence. I saw his name was Mike. I didn't realize it was Mike Pence. Okay, well. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. A phone number. It's time, though. Don't call now because it's time to take a walk down Disneyland Avenue and meet the Gizwiz, Disco King, Dick DeBartolo. He is our gizmo wizard, hence the name. He joins us each week with a fun toy, gadget, something interesting. Hello, Dickie D. Hello.
Leo, I'm good. How are you?
Very well. Is your museum changing, getting more depth, more elaborate, or is...
No. I mean, every time I go to the warehouse, I find something different. I change the shelves a bit.
But you basically, when Mad moved west, Dick basically preserved everything that was in the old offices, and it's in his tiny office.
Exactly. The unofficial Mad Magazine East office.
I like it.
And Twit office. We also have a little
Twit East
section
as well.
Twit.
Yeah, very small. Very small. We don't have nearly the memorabilia Mad does.
No, not at all.
So do you have something fun for us today?
So, Leo, there is a show this past week, one of my favorite shows every year, the Luxury Technology Show.
The Luxury Technology Show.
The show. You may remember 5 years ago, this was the most outstanding thing they've ever done. The Cirrus aircraft that if there was engine trouble, you pressed a button and a giant parachute shot out the top, so that the entire airplane.
Oh yeah, they still sell that.
Yes, they do. But now, for you especially, comes the robotic wine cabinet. Okay.
The robotic
claimed to be the world's first wine storage inventory system. Now, they had this at the show. This thing is monstrous. It's 9 foot 3 inches high, 4 feet wide, 3.5 feet deep, and lined with bottles. And you get to, it's LED, and you get to choose what the lighting you want. And I said to the woman, with all this wine, how in the world do you input data? And she said, no. You open the drawer at the bottom, and you start dropping your bottles in, and then the drawer closes. The robotic arm picks up each bottle, scans it. It has 600,000 labels in its database.
So it knows.
It knows. It knows the vineyard. It knows what it pairs with. And it will then... You can read the everything about it on the device itself. There's also a second iPad you can take to the table with you, so that if you want to look up something while you're eating, it's really quite amazing. Now, almost more amazing is the price. Okay.
Oh boy.
Well, yeah, let's play the price. So what would your guess be? This is an enormous, more than 200
many bottles?
Wines. 200 over 200 bottles.
200 bottles. And it's refrigerated?
It's refrigerated.
Yeah.
The robotic arm, he picks the wine up, he puts it on his shelf.
He doesn't pull the cork, does it?
Soon.
Coming soon.
Coming soon will be robotic one serve. So if you want
you're not joking.
No, so if you want just one glass, it can pop. It can put the needle through.
I'm going to say that is going to cost $5,899.99.
Oh, Leo, my guess was $25,000.
What?
And I was way off.
What? Okay. More than that?
My guess is they just have to sell one. Yeah. All right, it's $70,000.
Oh, come on, man.
No, well, Leo, I'm telling you, the reason now I'm telling you about this is there's $10,000 off until the end of October.
Oh, it's a deal. Now you're talking.
I know. I knew 70,000 would scare you,
but at that price, buy two.
At that price. But anyway,
how big is it?
It's over 9 feet tall.
Oh, it's pretty big.
It's big. I mean, it's beautiful. You get to pick out the wine, the wood, the kind of trim you want. You get the lighting you want.
This is the luxury gizmo show, after all, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But they're taking that seriously, that luxury part.
Absolutely.
Holy
cow. All right. Well, no sale here.
No sale.
I saved something a little more, a touch cheaper.
Oh.
Perhaps more practical for next week.
Yes. Oh, not now. Next week. So I just have to think about that all week and how much I want it. If you want to see it, Dick will show it to you at his website. See, he's got a website, gizwiz.biz. Are you running for president, Dick?
No. I am running so far from being president.
Yeah, run from the president.
Yes,
click on the GizWiz visits the tech guy. Oh, yeah, that's big. The wine cab. Actually, that's pretty. You know what? That's for restaurants or something.
That would be perfect for restaurants.
I think that's what that's for.
So people could see the arm come out and move the bottles around.
Yeah. For, a robotic arm, folks. That's not cheap. Winecab.com. If you remember his inflatable bike saddle from last week, that's there. There's all sorts of great stuff at gizwiz.biz. While you're there, though, you might want to click the little button here. Let me show you that says, what the heck is it? See that button? What the heck? It's on the right, and you could play the game. What is that? That's a close-up picture of a gizmo or a gadget. Identify it correctly, and Dick will autograph a copy of the newest Mad magazine for you. And guess it, but there's only, I think, how many? 6 of those.
For the right answer and a dozen for stupid, dumb, clever answers.
That's where I'm going. Stupid, dumb, clever. That's where I'm going. That goes through the end of October through Halloween. GizWiz, Biz, don't forget Dick's fabulous podcast. You think that wine cabinet's cool? He's got like tons of stuff in each show. And all you have to do is go to gizwiz.tv.
And I just want to mention, if you're at Comic-Con, I will be on a panel, the Mad Magazine panel tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
10:45 at the Javits Center.
Comic-Con, New York. Oh, how fun. Oh, how fun. Who else is going to be on the panel with you?
Let's see. We're going to have Tom Richmond and the staff from L.A.
This will be interesting.
Yeah,
will there be fighting? Yeah. Will they be fist fighting?
I plan on it.
Are you going to get in the boat in Rhode Island and just slug it on out?
I got some brass knuckles just in case.
Dickie, thank you so much. Great to talk to you.
Okay, buddy.
Dickie Bartolo, Mad's maddest writer and a friend of the show, and I'm proud of that. Mighty proud of that. Nice to have friends in low places. Tuesday, big day for Android lovers and Chrome OS lovers, too, I think. Google has an event in New York City, starts at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We will be streaming it on my podcast network at twit.tv, but I'll talk about it next week as well. We expect the new Pixel 3 phone from Google. I think this is pretty much a given, since there have been leaks of it for the last 3 months, but also maybe a new Chromebook. I think a Chrome tablet is what it's going to be, and who knows what else from Google. So we'll be talking about that next week. Thanks to Michael Cozio, our musical director. Michael, good job today. Kim Schaffer for answering the phones. Thank you, Kim. Thanks most of all to you for joining me. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great Geek Week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.